The intention of justice is to see that the guilty people are proven guilty and that the innocent are freed. Only we have a problem here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are taking a look at this case from a psychological perspective.
Fun. Everybody was having a good time.
Does Brian Albert strike you as the kind of guy who is always having fun? No. And here's a news flash for this judge. Mental health professionals have solutions.
They made an arrest. I got the guy for Danny.
It was like a mix between sadness and anger, because that's the moment for him when he really started to believe that his mother was involved.
The only corresponding records in the other databases are from previous days.
There is a huge psychological component to what was going on here. And according to this group, Brian Albert Jr. gets like the most celebrated birthday hour of anybody ever. Like every 30 seconds, someone's like, "Happy birthday!" John totally seemed like such a cool guy.
John makes me like
Somebody jumps in as a journalist, draws attention to it in a light that is not good for the prosecution. I mean, and there are serious allegations of corruption in the DA's office and the state police.
It's not like his 21st birthday.
What happened outside was separate from anything that happened inside.
I'm going to go with the seahorse, because certainly I've gotten a lot of love from everybody today, which feels nice.
You are very, very loved. And I can't believe we get to spend your birthday with you. Happy birthday!
Text messages read back as if he's the aggrieved party.
Hold on. Have each of you been called murderers?
Who wants to be the one to give Matt the bad news?
I wanted to prove, or to demonstrate.
I don't know where the dog was. I didn't hear any barking. Her name is Sunny. She was named after Santino Corleone.
To the side, in the side yard.
Hey, hi, everybody. There's my Johnny. Hello. That's my Johnny.
Sunny barks if you walk by my window and sneeze. You're not really going to deny this, are you?
it's so weird. It's like the Inside Out, upside down. In Narnia.
Really?
I would get at some point in a timely fashion and then turn it over.
Know if we had it enough, or we had it all, I should say. Not having any observable or detectable electrical activity would be a systole.
Means death. 3 separate tab IDs. The thing he had to encourage her to do was not to testify.
You know, and Julia Albert responds to the text message from John, and she goes, "My biggest fear in life is ending up on Turtle Boy."
Stop it.
Oh, you never seen that? Oh, I got it.
You're not going to like this, though. You're going to disagree with me on
Just say it. I like the
disagreement.
conflict.
Okay.
Yeah, the disagreement.
People are terrified of him. They're absolutely terrified of him. And how do we know that? We know that from Mega Motion. Just another day for me, right? Which means it was just not an ordinary day for somebody else. Just when you thought you were out, they pull you back.
Karen Reed plots, she fabricates a conspiracy.
I am just a person who likes to understand. That's going to increase the likelihood that we're going to take some action.
There she is.
My sister Jillian, yes.
It's funny. But then he's got part of his shirt untucked. His back pocket is kind of hanging out.
Has to buy that. So, has to buy that. So.
And showing solidarity, you can see them there.
It's about getting justice for John O'Keefe. There clearly is an issue of integrity.
How dare they?
Justice for all. Only we have a problem here.
Yes, we do. Welcome, welcome, welcome. this is, of course, the I Don't Belong Here show, and I am your host, Samantha Benigno. I am a behavioral scientist, a career psychotherapist, a sixth-year PhD candidate in clinical psychology, but hopefully not for the rest of my life. I'm a career therapist and counselor, and today, of course, we are going to be talking all things Karen Reed. And to do that, I have asked my lovely sister, Jackie, to join me. Hello, lovely sister Jackie. Wait a second.
Hello.
I have to bring you on. Wait, nobody can see you yet. Well, I don't know why not.
Okay,
Hold on. We can hear you, but we can't see you.
You
So
tell me
something
when you can see me.
happened in the like when I switched to this new hold on a second, you guys. When I switched to here we go. There we are. All right, we're getting closer now. Show on stage. No. Why are we so small? I switched like settings and somehow it totally screwed everything up. So all right. I'm going to bring you back.
Okay.
Show on stage. All right. So for now, we're going to be in these very small boxes, but it's going to take me like 2 minutes to fix that. So
It looks normal to me. I don't know.
really? Or like
Yeah.
these tiny little boxes? You
I don't
wanna be
see that.
tiny like this. You don't see that?
No, you know.
Isn't that weird? How weird.
I see like
Okay.
side by side normal stuff.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't get it. All right. That's weird.
The question is, what does everyone else see?
I know, right? Well, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna run comments on the stage, so because it looks normal. What is up with that? I think I'm nuts.
I don't know. You switched something?
Yes, something switched. Sometimes it does that. So like, StreamYard is a disaster. I just don't love StreamYard because it changes. Like you think you've saved things, and then you go back to it. And it doesn't look the way you left it, right? So the entire thing has reset, and the font is different, and the colors are different, and I can't master it.
Yeah, so
but,
like our names are in pink. Is that what everyone else sees?
The names are the names are supposed to be in pink. The question is, why are we small boxes and not big boxes? And
I don't see small boxes. I see big boxes.
that is insane. Yeah, I see little boxes on the left. All right, so you guys see that too.
I see little boxes. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So let's try one thing here. Let me try one thing. Wait, sister, you can't have that on, whatever that is.
I turned it off. It's off. It's
okay.
Off.
see, now we're getting smaller. Do you see this? Look, we're getting smaller.
Smaller, bigger.
I am going to put just 1 second, you guys. I am going to put this is supposed to be a group discussion, by the way, and for some reason the group is me and me alone, which is not actually a group, in case you didn't know. So we're deleting this. Yes, I'm deleting it. Thank you. And now it's just so silly that I have to do this. Let me see if I can make this work somehow. All right, we might just have to suffer through this. I'm going to be bringing up media anyway. So, Jackie, I'm adding you back to the stage here.
Okay.
So we may have to suffer
We're
through
here.
this for a little bit because I am going to bring stuff up here in just a moment.
Okay.
How are you, sister?
Good. Yeah. Good.
What
Feeling
what is
good.
happening?
It's been quite a week in the world of, Karen Reed and all that. So
It
much.
sure has.
So much.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, whoa. Like I
Yeah,
didn't
it
even
happened
realize
fast.
like it was like interview after interview, and I'm like, am I like when was this? Like, did I not see this? Like I thought it was a long time ago. I didn't realize it was just like all happening at once, and it's just random, so random.
Yes.
All of it.
Yes. Well, I guess the obvious. Oh, we did it. Hey, there we
Did
go.
we?
All right, this is better. Yes. So apparently
There we go. Okay.
we're better now.
Yeah.
Apparently the Rotten Mango interview was recorded before the holidays, so
It
was a
seemed
little
like
dated.
it was before January because she kept
Yes.
referring to January like it was in such a future.
coming.
Yeah.
Right. And the Lifetime movie hadn't come out yet, so they
Right.
held it back for whatever. They probably did it on purpose, waited for the Lifetime movie to to land and then released it right after, which was smart.
Yeah.
What did you think? Give me your instinct first of the Rotten Mango interview and then of the Lifetime movie. What was your initial
okay,
reaction?
so my first thing with the interview was, why did she choose this platform to do it? Like I questioned that so much. And then my immediate like something I noticed immediately that was so off-putting to me was, and I can understand why, was it felt like every time Karen spoke, it was almost like every word that came out of her mouth was like she was so afraid to say, or so like I don't know, it was like almost to the point where she had a stutter, but we all know she doesn't stutter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of
course. So I found that really interesting, like how just like it was like, it took her, I mean, it was long, but I thought it was, I thought we got some good information. I thought, a couple questions that I really wanted to know she answered that I thought were interesting. Definitely, for sure. But I just noticed that she just seemed very like just nervous, and I don't know. You know what I mean? Like not as like confident as I'm used to seeing. You know what I mean? In this freedom, in this post, like, acquittal life. Yeah. That's how that was. And then this on the flip side, there's like this woman who I felt like, who is this person? I just was confused, like a little bit about like, thank you. Okay. Right. Okay. Immediately. Like, and it just stayed. Toward the end, I do feel like she loosened up. I think, there was some consistencies. Like if she starts talking about her family, she gets choked up. If she starts, you know what I mean? Like if there were certain, it was consistent in that way. But I just thought it was strange because does anybody know like who this person is? I was like, who is this person who has like 5 million like subscribers? I was like, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, like why? Maybe the first thing that came to my head is she must have gotten like paid for it. Because if they weren't able to offer her some sort of compensation, like I feel like why wouldn't she have chosen, like, I don't want to say like you, but like somebody maybe like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, am I crazy? Like who is this person? Like why her?
Well, I mean, I think,
felt like I would have liked an explanation as to like why, like what, I don't know. I don't
why
wanna,
that.
Yeah.
I think I agree. I heard just with the chat in general, the sentiment is like she had a lot of subscribers and definitely she was more popular with the younger demographic. I think, I don't even know, to be honest, I don't know if Karen got paid for this. I hope so. I really hope so.
I do too. I do too. I don't.
She did. She gave. Okay, so she's gonna hit 1 million views with the Karen interview. Yes,
of course.
So I hope so too, Sherry D. I hope that's true. I see you saying that. I can't find you in the real
because
time.
Because if this was gonna be like one of those,
no,
why
it was
not,
definitely somebody with a lot of subscribers.
Why not go like down the road of like one of your like real diehard like supporters and give them that like 1 million view video with her,
right?
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. No. Well, and I think
so
she was also promoting her channel.
Hope she got paid. Yeah.
I think she was also promoting the new YouTube channel.
Could have done that anywhere though.
No, but again, I think this woman has obviously a tremendous following, 6 point something subscribers, million. Hopefully she got paid. I sincerely hope she got paid. I do think she reached a younger demographic, and
that's true.
To be fair, like that's great. More people, like it reaches more people. I think that's a good thing, because I do think that what it sounded like from my takeaway from the Karen Reed interview was sort of twofold. One, why we haven't seen her is because she's traumatized. And then two, that the mission going forward is, how do I tell this story in the larger context of corruption? How do we fix the corruption? And that's what I gathered she wants the
Yeah.
read files to be about, right?
Right. And that's great. Isn't that what
I agree.
isn't that what this is about, really?
It is.
A lot of it.
Yes.
A lot of it.
Mhm.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, right. Angie6672 says it was an interesting choice and it should have
Yeah,
been Aiden.
that
I
would have
know.
been great. That would have been great. But I think there's obviously something bigger going on there that like whatever.
Yes.
I have no idea. But of course that would have been ideal. But even if it wasn't Aiden, it could have been a lot of people. Like I would have, Peter Tragos comes to mind for me, or somebody like, Melanie, any, whatever, whoever. It could be anybody. Could be anyone. Nurse Kim.
Totally.
Anybody. Even
No,
like
but I think,
Emily C. Anybody.
yeah, no, I think there was a bigger intent. And I agree with Sherry.
But I get it. I get it. It was
bigger than that.
Yeah, it was just like a weird, quirky, like dynamic. And she seemed very so guarded. Like she seemed like like I don't know. Like I just was like,
that's so interesting. That's exactly what Turtle Boy said, honestly.
Oh, really?
He said the same thing. Yeah.
I haven't.
He said exactly the same thing. I just caught it. I just happened to catch that one part.
That's interesting.
And he said
it doesn't really surprise me because it seemed like really obvious to me. Like like
that she was carefully selecting her words.
Yeah. And maybe not having, maybe I'm wrong, but like I don't know, maybe he was there, but maybe not having like Alan Jackson like right behind you to sort of like make you feel, or some, I don't know. Maybe being sort of, I felt like she felt comfort whenever she spoke of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like it was, I thought it was great. I thought we got a lot of information. I thought there was definitely some questions that I've wanted to know. And she's open though. I feel like she's guarded maybe because she wants to be so open. But oh wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Sherry. And I that was my instinct as well, that it was just a large audience and is going to be a big payday for everyone, hopefully.
Yeah. And I thought that the host, I thought she was good. I thought she was cute and like quirky, and
she was fine.
I think she was like honest in her own like place in this, you know what I mean? Which was good. And she was, it was fine. But I thought
it was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But here's the thing. So like, I think the first 20 minutes, if you haven't seen the whole thing, the first 20 minutes is very much about her kind of mental health. And we can play parts of it where it's copyrighted, so we're not allowed to play it the way that it was played. It has to be played off speed or whatever. But and I can play some of it. There was one moment I didn't like as a mental health professional where the to me what seemed like a naive child asking the questions about mental health asked about depression. But that's me because I'm, a seasoned mental health professional who was frustrated that you don't know what the difference between anxiety and depression and trauma. And of course you don't, because why would you? So I knew that was my stuff. I wasn't, I was projecting in a big way onto her there. We can look at that clip too in a minute, but to me, this is all trauma, and that's what you're picking up on too, Jackie. Like, you don't get to select. If you have trauma, you have trauma, and that is going to come across in any public appearance, especially one that is going to have 6 million eyes on it, right? So, that's the reality, and it's very clear to me that that's what we're looking at. It's very clear in every way she describes her experience. She's describing trauma. If we needed someone to explain what it means, Karen Reed would be a great spokesperson for it, because she's breaking that down without even really knowing that's what she's doing. So, and to her point, right? Like, could you imagine? It is really hard to imagine what it must be like to live moment to moment, like, your life is on the line, and you have this this whole force of people who are trying to steal away, take your liberty, right?
Right. Absolutely. No, absolutely. I think that's big part as to why a lot of us latched onto this case. I mean, it was for me, like,
of course,
because I felt like that could have been anyone. I think she had like all the right, like, it was like almost like it was so, not that it was all the right, but like all the right things to be able to, for this to go the way it did, and to, you know what I mean? Like, it was like this is hard to say, but almost like there's a reason why that was such a force. Like, she was a really good, like, person she really put up a fight, and she had, she did a good job of putting a face, like taking this and doing what she did with it,
Absolutely.
And I
yes.
like commend her for that. It's a hard way to put it because she's being accused of murder. It's like she's a good spokesperson for being accused of murder. I don't want to say that because that's not what I mean.
I know what you mean.
This happened to her, but thankfully she has she seems, she's a solid human, and they picked the wrong girl.
Yes,
she's very,
they did.
The strength is insane. She has
smart.
She has she may not have she may not have had like this a bazillion friends prior to this, but she had a core group of people that were like die hard,
Definitely.
and intelligent people, and they led her very much in the right way. She trusted the right people, and thankfully. But yeah, I mean, who could have thought that like this? Like when she said she went to some like play with her father when she was like 15, and she was like, imagine that his daughter was gonna like play me in a movie one day, like I thought that was like a great response. You know what I mean? Like she really answered like it was nice to see that, because like the very first thing that she asked her was about what it felt like to be acquitted, and she gave such a wonderful answer. And when she answered spoke on like thinking that Hank was going to that she was going to go to jail, to her even for like a year or whatever, like, and it's weird, like in that moment where she hears like the crowd, you know what I mean? And like, which was such a huge relief. She's still thinking in that moment, oh, he's going to try to like put me in prison, which I thought was so interesting because everybody outside of this was like, no, that's ridiculous.
Okay, wait, like time out. So you've jumped ahead here, and I want to bring this back, because this is, now we're at the end of that interview, and so what you're talking about, I actually was right there with her. I felt exactly the same way that Karen Reed felt.
I was a little nervous about that too.
That she had two. So what? Jackee is my sister. This is my sister Jackee, and she is also. We kind of got into true crime together and have always it's been our thing, just together. It's been our thing for the last 20 years. But what Karen explained, right, was that there was right before on verdict day, there were two sets of teams. There was one team of the lawyers that were focusing on, what happens with the verdict. The other were focusing on sentencing. Right. So that they could be ready for anything that could come at them. And Karen's team this part was run by Alessi, I believe, was absolutely sure that they were going to be looking at least 1 year, that Hank Brennan was going to be unapologetic and try to throw the book at her, even if all they got was a DUI. And she was shocked that they got the same treatment as everybody else. And her whole thing, which I thought was one of the more interesting parts of the interview, where she says at the very end, at least be consistent. Like, if I'm a bad person, I'm a bad person. But now
I thought
you
that was
acquitted
weird
me and I'm not.
too. I thought that was weird too, but a lot, like watching all the professionals, like the lawyers and stuff, like during that time, because that's like all I was doing. I was glued to it. They were pretty confident that like that's not going to happen. That would be just like crazy. Like,
a lot of people said that.
And I felt, but I understood. But she was right. Like she was right. Like absolutely. Like how that must feel. Like so. Like, did you believe
anything?
Believe any of this, or what is this about? And that's how a lot of us felt. Because it was because it's so obvious. So obvious.
Well, one of the things that Loophole Lawyer and I that came up when we spoke earlier this week, to me, Hank Brennan was always entitled by the family, and that's one of the variables in this story that I think we can so easily overlook. But if you take this out of this context, you think about every other true crime case you've ever been witness to, the family does largely influence what the prosecution does. Not always.
Absolutely.
A lot of the times they don't, but a lot of times they do. Prosecutor's office will go to them before they make deals and say, are you okay with this deal? Right. So I think that Hank, right from the beginning, felt very entitled by having the O'Keefe family behind him.
Behind
and that
him,
was
right.
like what he was really, self-righteous about.
Absolutely.
I guess.
Absolutely. I get that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
still, though.
So, I mean, it is what it is. But I think that's, at the end of the day, he's just a lawyer. And,
yeah. Like,
I guess
at the end of the day.
that's all it was, a job.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he, I don't know, maybe thinks that he was being fair, but they weren't always trying to bend, the whole, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't see how anyone could not see what we see.
I know. It takes a lot out of you.
It's literally one of those things. I don't know who said it recently, where it's like, I don't want to associate with people that think that. Like, if it's like a family member, like, I'm like, I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things. It's like, if you believe that, like, I'm all set with you.
Yes. That's funny because
I know,
Samantha
right?
will solve this together.
They will.
That's very funny.
They will.
No, I totally agree. But the thing is, and this is kind of reflective of like a larger problem. So one of the reasons that I like listening to the Defending the Truth ladies, not like, I wouldn't say like, one of the reasons why I have listened, not like listening, but have listened, is because I want to know those things. Like, I want to know, how does this person,
how they see it that way?
How are you making sense of this? How are you reasoning through this? How do you make sense of the butt dials? And like, how are you, when you actually break these things down, how do you think about, the crash daddies? How do you think about physics? How do you think about Trooper Paul? How do you think about Mike Proctor? How do you think about Michael
Judd
Lank
Welcher?
and Sean Good and, Brian Tully? How do you think about all of this? And then when they say things like, well, there's absolutely no corruption, you're like, okay, well, then you discredit yourself, right? Then you have no leg to stand on because you say things that are just so obviously silly, right? Silly.
Yes.
Like, if there was nothing wrong with the way these cops acted, Michael Proctor would not have lost the ability to ever be a law enforcement officer in the state of Massachusetts.
Banned. Like, he should just move. He should be like out on a one-way train.
He probably will. But that's the thing. So. Like, so, and somebody, and I want to thank, I don't know who it was. I should go back and find out to do a proper thank you. Somebody brought up, when I was with Loophole on Monday, somebody brought up the Trial 4 trial.
Yeah.
Now, I think, Jackie, you had talked to me about this because you have always been passionate about the folks who are unjustly wrongfully
wrongful
accused.
Convictions. Yeah.
Yes, and Karen.
I
was
love
one of them.
Sean Ellis. He's cute too.
He is cute.
Yeah,
yes.
no, I know this story pretty well.
Yeah, it's so funny because she mentioned
and what's her
Trial
name?
4.
Rosemary
Scapiccio is the lawyer, and I forgot it. I must have seen that before the Karen Reed stuff.
No, I definitely.
I know who Rosemary Scapiccio is.
I've sent that to you before, probably.
Yes,
just like remember I sent
it.
you the other one with the.
Of course.
That other movie.
But this is important because if you haven't seen Trial 4, just watch like even the first episode of it. It's the Sean Ellis case, and it's in and around the suburbs of Boston. Rosemary Scapiccio is the defense attorney, and you get to see her when she's a little younger too, which is super cute.
Yeah.
But it highlights the Boston Police Department's history of corruption and like the Good Old Boys Club and the lack of oversight, the no rules. And this is the group. This is the same police that Brian Albert came out of the Marines and walked right into being a police officer in Boston. So he's like a layover from that group. That's the way he was indoctrinated into being a Boston cop, and he oozes
like
that.
They learned from them.
Those were his like models for how to be a Boston police officer, right? Because that was like the peak of the overtime scandal. I mean, these guys were lawless to the extreme, many of them, but there was no oversight and they could do whatever they wanted. And it is exactly what it looks like it is, right?
Yes, so, very much
and then somebody else, and I think it was the same person, mentioned that there was a video of oh my God, what's his name? The Peter, the police officer from Canton that used to work for the Canton PD, and he retired, and he was very much a Karen Reed supporter. Peter, you guys will know. Oh my God, what's his name? He's awesome. You know who I'm talking about. I'll pull it up. Peter Murphy. Thank you, Legal Swag.
okay.
Peter Murphy. So he does an interview with the Las Vegas police guys who you've seen.
Yeah,
you
yeah, I know
if you
them.
see them.
Yeah, of course.
So, and he mentions that there was somebody on the, so the plow guys that when there's a big snowstorm, the city brings on.
I watched that video. I've seen that one. It's like one of the only ones I've seen.
Yes.
By those guys.
Exactly. And so there is this, and I'll play a clip of this for sure.
Yeah.
There's this statement that Peter Murphy makes that on that night, people that were plowing and I guess
that.
cops,
I love that dude.
He's great. He's great.
Yeah.
He's great.
That's the old. He's like really old, right? He's like an old.
He's old.
Man.
Yeah, he's old. He's retired. Canton cop.
Yes,
right?
totally.
But I was thinking about retired cops. That's how he came into my mind.
And he totally is like thinks that. Yeah, he's on
Karen Reed is innocent.
Yeah, totally.
Right, and he's somebody
I know
who
exactly
knows
what you're talking
them.
about. Sorry about that. Yeah,
he like knows the people, right?
Yeah,
so he's somebody who knows those cops, and he actually said. So Peter Murphy in that same video says, "I remember when I was first coming into the Canton PD, people telling me, oh, Brian Albert used to just walk right in, not say anything to anybody, just give a wave and then go right upstairs to like wherever I guess the chief's desk is, or go right up into the police department." Like he was, and he was told, Peter Murphy tells the story about he was told, that's Brian Albert. Like, he's okay. Like he gets to do whatever he wants. That's what the story really Peter Murphy tells. I know.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I mean, anything he says, I believe. I mean, he just seems like, why would this guy not? Oh, you know what I mean? That's probably what happened. That's right. True.
I know.
True.
We should take a look at that because it's really interesting. And
I know. I forgot. I know.
Morrissey is not running for DA.
That and I was like, that is crazy. Yeah, he's not gonna. Yeah, that's crazy.
He's not running. It's very, very exciting.
I mean, obviously that's like makes sense, but I'm surprised because these people usually like triple down. You know what I mean? Like usually that's their move is just to go one more like more ridiculous step into this.
You're right.
So I like literally just assumed that he's going to just like run again against Adam or whatever.
But you know
what? I found
out
how
you need money to run again.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's not happening.
If you can't make the money, then you're not running again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that is so interesting.
It's interesting.
I mean, what do you think is going to happen once like a new person comes in? Like, are they going to like indict these people? Are they going to go like maybe do like an investigation on Brian Higgins?
I don't know.
Somehow, some way.
Well, I mean, the fact that we don't know who's going to ultimately be the new DA, right? But if it is this guy, Deitch, Adam Deitch, right?
Yeah.
Who was the person who actually hired ARCA? Like, if he's the guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Adam Deitch was the head of the investigation that looked into the cops to see if there was any corruption in the Karen Reed case, and he was so inspired to change the dynamic that he literally sold his home, moved to this county, left one county, moved to Norfolk County, and now is running to be the DA.
Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Oh wow, that's an incredible story.
Yeah, and he's adorable. We can take a look at him too.
That's what we need. That's what we need.
Right.
Is someone who's willing to do that, because everyone that's already in that town is probably scared they're going to get murdered if they try to do that. This guy, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Hopefully clean house. Exactly.
Just like that.
You got it.
I mean, in every sense of the word, maybe offer like low house rates for people to move, get some new blood in.
Well, I mean, or just get rid. The biggest problem too, from the DA's perspective, it sounds like it's these cops. And I think this is one of the things that Karen talked about that resonated strongly with me, is the fact that it is a one-party state. And because they're with a one-party state, there's never anybody running against you. So it's like once you're grandfathered in, you're locked in.
It's
And I
so
think
hard.
it's
Yeah.
probably like that because look, not everybody pays attention to local politics. Like I don't, to be fair, know who my local politicians are, right? At the very local level, most of us aren't really paying that close attention.
I know.
And for that reason, once
Like,
they're
we should know who, like,
grandfathered
the
in, they're
GA
in.
is. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right. So Tree Landon sends $9.99, says, Sam, love your show. RM interviewer is educated and intelligent. She started out storytelling on solved cold cases a while, then moved to current true crime court cases. She's fun to listen to. Interesting. So
this is the girl that did the
Rotten
interview?
Mango girl, yes. So she, I guess she really did, and thank you for that, cover the Karen Reed case.
Yeah, no, she did. I'm not saying that. Like a lot, but so did a lot of people. But like,
no,
for that,
sure.
for that matter, like I listen. Like, is this like I felt like this is like more like a podcast situation? Like, why wasn't it like Ashley Flowers or like I would prefer like Annie Elise? I think she's a little bit more like edgy. I don't know. And this is more. I don't know. Maybe somebody.
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought she was like perfectly fine. Like she was funny. You know, she's funny. I did get a clip of her, like, she does like I don't know how many parts, but whatever parts series on the story of Karen Reed. And so I started watching the beginning just to like see who this was for a minute. And it was kind of funny. You know, then I ended up like, you know, doing something else, but I don't know.
Wait,
you know
okay.
what I mean?
I am going to bring this up. Let me bring this up here. Oh, that wasn't what I was going to do, but I'm happy to do that too. CC Headband Cupcake Larnard.
She did. She certainly did seem emotional.
Karen Reed seemed very emotional during the interview, understandably, but this interviewer seemed almost emotionless.
I agree. It was more like
let Karen answer. Ask let Karen answer on repeat. To me, She Mango seemed inauthentic. Sadly. That's so interesting.
Agreed. Like almost like she didn't know anything. Like she wanted to.
Her head. Is how I would describe it.
Yes.
In over her head. I think that's the way I didn't experience it as inauthentic. I experienced it as a little naive, maybe, or just in over her head.
Like, excuse me, what was this? Who is Brian Higgins? Like, what is that?
Well, somebody else in the chat was talking about that. Like I could have done away with those.
She's like, if you go, and what was the other one? I don't know what else she said, but I was like, what? Like where? I don't know.
So
you know,
funny.
like
Everybody
that was
has
almost
such
like
different
it was a
opinions.
little bit offensive, like to be honest. Like I'm gonna be honest.
Listen, everybody has very different opinions about it. And that's okay, right? It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm glad you did an interview, and I'm not mad at this girl at all. That's all. But I don't know that I'm gonna like watch another episode.
Yes, that's right. Yes, and I got that, Bernadette. Like I got when I was watching it that there was inside jokes to her viewers that she had covered this case that before. Like I was able to extrapolate, even though I had no idea who the Rotten Mango host was or the show existed before this. I was able to extrapolate from watching it that like she had some familiarity with the case, that she had her own inside language about it, all of that. So I appreciate people
like
trying.
What did she come up with that? Like
the inside. I don't know. But I will tell you, it did feel for a younger demographic.
Yes, it did. It did.
Right?
Absolutely. I immediately felt like that too.
That was the vibe I got. But I do think, look, for Karen, it's wonderful to hear her voice. I think it's so funny, and I do want to get into this because there are some things that are still like a thorn in my side, I should say, about it, about some things that Karen Reed has said or done that I still am baffled by. But hold on, I'm trying to get this. Sorry, you guys. So I do want to take a look at some of the things that that she has said and that I am very confused by. But on the whole, I find Karen Reed to have been incredibly consistent. So earlier, like last week, right, the Defending Your Truth folks on Twitter put out this absurd video of, if you haven't seen it, it's just so absurd. It's like a 3-minute video of these Natalie the German texts or whatever messages going back and forth. and they're in a little video, put to a song. In between each text, there's like a lyric from the song that's like blown up.
I haven't seen this.
About like lying, and it is just the most absurd thing you've ever seen, because the text messages themselves, they're completely consistent with everything else you've ever heard from Karen Read. So it doesn't make sense. Like, there's nothing revealing or scandalous. Like, we all know how Karen Read feels. And I guess that's the part that I don't get. Like, if you're an anti-Karen Read person, you don't like her, fine. But she's always said the same things. I mean, there's not new themes.
Because that's the
there's no new
truth.
information.
That's the truth. That's what she lives.
That's her truth.
Yeah.
That's her truth. That's what she believes, right? Whether or not you do or not, or I do or whatever. But it's like, clearly this is what she believes.
I love when she said, I don't have any like deleted messages. I don't have any deleted Google searches. She's like, I don't have any Google searches. I was like, I love that, because it's like so true, like so ridiculously true. Like,
and she had
52
phone calls. It's not like she wasn't doing anything.
Right. Yeah.
Right. If she was trying to hide those, she would have. She could have. She would have deleted them. Right.
Yeah. And I'm glad that she says those things, because it's like so true. Like, in any other world, like that has weight, and it's like everything with this woman, for some reason, it's so bizarre, it really is bizarre. But I also know that like it's a little like out there in that area, they're a little bizarre. Like, I don't know. I felt like to be honest, people like being in that specific area of Massachusetts, like Eastern Massachusetts, they were like on an island of their own, and they never leave or something. And and it was just a little bizarre. That's all.
That's actually a really important point. And I think that's something that, look, probably every small town has their own vibe all over the place.
It was like that, but a city.
But also Boston has a very specific vibe. It's always been these like, how do I want to say this? And I'm not trying to bring like race or religion into anything. It's just that like they've always been run by like these Catholic, white, tough guy men from South Boston who like, the Irish people settled that area, and then they spread out around the city and into the suburbs. And a lot of them went into law enforcement. And so you have generations of these guys whose dads and then their dads went into the fire department, went into law enforcement. New York City has a version of it also, right?
But then they all went to high school with that guy, and they all know that guy if they're not that guy.
It's very local.
And so, and so there's, and so it's wild. It really is.
It's very wild. Yeah. And so there's this, like, and the other thing that I think Karen Read was interesting, she definitely seems to focus heavily on Michael Proctor. And that's not new. I mean, she clearly has a reason to have focused on Michael Proctor. I can
understand that. I mean, I can totally understand that. I thought it was weird when she was like, I would give true stand to Michael Proctor. Like, we know, like, that's the one thing, person who's been the most truthful. Like, it just, that didn't make any sense. I'm like, I would say like, Brian Higgins and like Colin Albert or something like that.
That's funny. Yes. Well, and
anything I wouldn't say Proctor, because he's the one that's like
the most transparent.
Not only that, but like he's committed the crime, and he's been like accused of the crime, and he's been punished for that crime, and now he's like banned. That's the one on paper that's like they got him for a crime that he did essentially during her case because of her, which should have, that alone in any other world, in any other case, would have thrown this out immediately, like would have done something would have changed it in a huge way. That is so unethical.
Yes,
and then
I know.
and then like running in, and then on top of that you add inverted video in the first trial. Like, I could keep going. So it's like, it's just,
it's insane. The insanity is off the wall. You're absolutely right.
But that's why I think we were all sort of here, and this is,
it's been, absolutely. I owe you guys this. I've had many people email me about it because he is so transparent. I've never done a full analysis of Michael Proctor publicly. I've done it on my own, and he is so transparent. And I feel like we do really get a ton of information from Michael Proctor. I don't feel like he's hiding very well or hiding at all, actually. So he gives you a lot of information. Like she said, truth serum. I understand why she would focus on him. She's also like very empirical, which I like about Karen Reed. She's a science girl.
Yeah, totally.
So she wants
like her a lot.
the evidence and the proof, right?
Yeah, totally.
Which I get. But from studying him for a very long time, Michael Proctor, to me, knows more than most people give him credit for, but it certainly did not have the authority to do anything like plant evidence. He just didn't, right?
No.
I think he was not doing anything on his own. Couldn't have.
Yeah. Oh, no. I think that he was sort of the guy that was just he was trying to make the bosses proud and just do whatever they asked. And then, him and Buchanan or whatever, that's what they're just, I think they believe she did it. I think they just believe that's what they believe.
Did it 100%.
Yeah. I don't know. That's it.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Because when you, and again, like I said, I know I need to do the video on this because I've been talking about it forever and something else always comes up and I have it all planned out in my mind about how to do it. But yes, absolutely. Like Michael Proctor believed that he had one shoe.
The shoe.
Sam, he had one shoe. And you're like, but Michael Proctor, did it not occur to you that for him to have been hit so hard by a vehicle that he was knocked out of his shoes, he would have had to also have a bruise somewhere on his body? Like, but he didn't do that much thinking about it. It's like his brain stopped after he saw one shoe and he had people like Jennifer McCabe and Brian Albert telling him, she hit him with a car.
Absolutely.
So those were like the only things
because it made sense immediately. Those two things in his mind. That's right. It was like the puzzle came together, and then from that moment on,
that was it.
And then it was like the crazy girl, and then when she called him a million times in the messages, like, John, you fucking
she's a crazy girl. Yes, exactly. They just didn't think. They didn't really stop to look at it and carefully examine each piece of evidence and then do what you're saying. They just went, yep, the pieces all fit. And when anybody questioned it, like the medical examiner, they did exactly the same thing. They dismissed her as a whack job.
The only thing I will never get past is, and seeing how small that property is, any halfway decent police officer would have went in the house and searched the house immediately. And put caution tape around the whole house and made them like live in a hotel. But taking everyone and question them in.
Okay, so and we're gonna do
even
this
like
now,
the worst police officer on the planet, and so that's I guess him.
But there's a reason. So hold on, let me read this, and then I'm going to show you something. So Kat Randall sends $5. Says, "Careful what you wish for." The FBI guy was an insider that didn't get results. The FBI insider may not be the best. Just look a little. I have thought about that, and I really appreciate your support. And I completely agree with you in a way. In other words, just because he was that guy, to me, what that says is that he was inspired by corruption, but you're exactly right. It also says that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to go on a crusade to put Brian Higgins in jail. It just means that he may realize that things need to change. Right. And so I think you're right. I don't think it necessarily means that he's going to be the guy to clean house around the John O'Keefe case. But I think it's inspiring that he saw some need for change and wants to be the guy that tries for it, like goes for it. Right. Because that's what I hear. I know that I shouldn't read into this, but I do. I wonder if it wasn't political, why it was that they weren't successful, why it was they didn't get results. Right. Because if you're that motivated, believing that there was corruption and you weren't able to close the deal, is that because at the end of the day, there was somebody saying, stop, we don't want you to do this.
Right. Like closing all the doors were getting closed in his face, probably.
Right. In other words, you got the Boston Police Department, you've got the Massachusetts State Police, you've got the Canton Police. At the end of the day, like Boston Police Department by itself is a powerhouse agency, Then you've got the Massachusetts State Police. I mean, as the local federal office, these are people that you have to work with every day, all the time, right? Like, to me, I wonder if
Right.
there wasn't just a political motive for getting rid of it, letting it go. That's what I have to ask myself, right? If it wasn't like somebody up higher than him
Probably.
was like, you can't do this,
Probably.
you know.
But
That is my like just knee jerk like guess, right? I don't have any way to back that, but okay. So, but to your point, sister, because this is really important. You asked, and you are absolutely right. Every legitimate police officer on the planet looks at this case and says exactly what you said.
Yeah.
The fact that nobody even goes into that house, the fact that they because from their viewpoint, and I've said this right from the beginning also, right? As most of you already know, the fact that how do you know the dog isn't barking? Okay. So you show up, there's a police officer on the front lawn by that flagpole, dead. Okay. Not breathing, not alive, frozen from their vantage point, but actually just dead, not frozen, but dead. But they don't know that. So you show up and you see a Boston police officer on another Boston police officer's front lawn. You don't know if everybody in that house is dead. The lights aren't coming on. The dog isn't barking.
How did they not open the car door?
How
Have
do
one
you
cop
not
go
try
up
to
to
see if they're
John and one
safe?
go right up to the front door?
Exactly. Go
And
right to
knock
the
on
front
it.
door.
It doesn't make
and
sense
knock
to
and
me.
say, well, it does make sense though if
They
were
know him.
already
They know
Yeah.
where they are. Yeah.
they already spoke to him.
Yeah.
It does make sense if Mike Lank is the guy that Brian Albert calls as soon as Jen lets him know that Mike Lank is out front.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Mike Lank is on a 5-minute phone call without a question, without a doubt. He's on the phone for 5 minutes, walking away from the scene, ignoring everybody around him. And when
Okay.
asked, who are you talking to? I don't know. I could take a guess, but I don't. Okay. Right. I don't know. Well, I do. I know who you're talking to, right? The people in the house.
In the
of
house.
course. Hello. Right.
Yes.
And then they wait, the police wait until everybody, the fire department, anybody that is not a Canton cop, they wait
Until
until
they're gone.
everybody's gone. And then they go into the house. It's
And they do,
it's
and
such
they
a
all like
disgrace.
sit around the kitchen island and like have a little powwow or something. It's ridiculous.
Well, then but then it's funny because the Alberts and McCabe's make it sound like there were two conversations with cops. There was one conversation with Mike Lank and Sean Good, and then another with Mike Lank and Lieutenant. No. Lieutenant Gallagher.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Paul Gallagher.
Yeah.
So that's not what happened though. Actually, Mike Lank goes in by himself and talks to Brian and Nicole.
Yeah, that's what I
first.
thought. Yeah. That's how
Then-
I knew it. That's why I was confused.
Then it appears as though either there's another interview where Sean Good may have been around, or just another interview with Mike Lank. And then because what's his name? Jen's husband shows up and he has a little talk with Matt. And then
And how
he
soon
comes
is that
back with
after this
Gallagher.
all happened? Like the same day?
Oh no, that's 6:40. I mean, this is 6 in the morning. This
Oh,
is
okay.
happening like
That's
this is
crazy.
happening the moment the body is taken out of the onto the ambulance.
That's crazy. That's
It's
just
crazy.
craziness.
So, but that's to your point. To your point, the answer to the question is this is Brian Albert's house. How
Yeah, I know.
like
But
it's
it's
so
crazy.
hard for people to like grasp that, but I feel like you have to grasp that if you're going to understand this case. You have
Yeah.
to understand
That
like
yeah.
who this guy was, like
Right.
how significant of a figure he was in the Boston Police Department, how well known he was, how feared he was. You know, this guy was a feared guy.
You know what I gotta say? In this
Hmm.
lifetime movie, they did such a good job
God.
of making it
Lifetime movie.
like when they had the ambulance and it was like a minute of it and they were so loud, mirror, mirror, and then they show like the cops
I
and another cop, and they did. I was like, yes. I was like, all right, this isn't gonna be that bad, because I really was like, wow, they made a moment of making sure they made it like clear that they did like a view with the house, like how you couldn't like hear that if you were in the house.
You
To
couldn't
me,
hear it. Yeah.
it was such a like who it was a nod to like, if you know this case really well, you understood like that. I saw that. I don't know if anyone else did, but
so
to me,
funny.
I noticed it and I was like, that is awesome. They just kept going like here and another one. I was like, oh my God, this is great.
That's very funny. I destroyed that scene because best thing about that scene, I have to tell you, just the irony. And I don't like to just shit on people to shit on people. So I'm going to say this and not
the
stay on it.
positioning was like immediately like ridiculous. It was like, so
the positioning,
stupid.
but the fact that like the whole thing with the Sandra Bullock text came out.
Yes.
And then the film drops and the way that they had casted Carrie Roberts.
Oh my God.
I mean, it was like, oh my God.
I died. I'm watching
How
and
funny is that,
immediately look, so out loud, and I watched this like in the middle of the night as soon as I got home from work. And I put it on as soon as like they showed Jen McCabe. I'm like, oh, she wishes. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, she got like, she must be like, literally out loud. I'm saying that like that was my reaction, right? Because I'm noticing that, right?
Yeah.
And then they show her, and the
funny.
phone rings, and they show Carrie Roberts, and she gets like up out of the bed, and
I know.
Was like literally in shock. I was like, oh my God. That's so bad. That's so mean. That's
oh my God.
Like,
I was terrible. It was mean. But it was like do it to be mean.
Okay, I don't know. These people, to me, there was a lot of hints in this movie.
You think
like
they did
nods,
it to be mean?
not
Really?
to be mean, but like nods to like supporting Karen more than just dramatizing her story because she was found, to be not guilty. Does that make sense? And so we're like looking at it from her point of view. We want like she's like the, the hero in the story because she was found not guilty, right?
Yeah. But that one moment, I have it. Like that one moment though, when she's like this by the wheel. Oh my God, you guys. I died. It was so funny.
Listen, I just want to say, I don't think that the interview was bad. I'm not saying that it was bad at all.
Oh, I don't think it was bad at all.
No, I don't think it was bad at all. That's not it. I thought that, like I said, I thought Karen was awesome. I thought she looked great. I was like confused because she seemed like so like scared. And normally we see her and she's like very confident. I know she's maybe because of the lawsuit, the civil suit, and she just wants to be like, make sure nothing is said wrong or I can understand that. I do that too, but it got to the point where it seemed like it was a lot. But I thought it was all right. I thought it was good. So I don't want
yes.
And I'm glad like it's all great. I was just giving like sort of, a little bit of like I didn't know who she was and you know what I mean? Like I'm surprised. I'm not saying it was bad, but I thought that she got a lot of good information out of Karen and she spoke to her for a really long time and she's kind of quirky and funny. Like I said, I thought it was good. So I don't want
it was good.
To be,
so
I like
Ben Burnett 8109 sends $10 says sorry ladies to disagree, but that interview will go down in history as one of the best ever. That interview was a safe way to send daggers into the hearts of the forensic four. Karen has snark. Yeah, it was. I agree with all that. And there was a ton of good stuff that came out of it. I did not think the interview was bad at all.
No. I liked it and supported it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I just wasn't familiar with that person. So it seemed for me to be out of nowhere, but it may not have been. It just was my perspective.
I was just sort of analyzing it like to a certain perspective, but I thought
sometimes
it was good.
You can be so close to something too. Like,
and
I'm
that's the
so
case.
Close to it. Like, I don't see the like higher view potentially, right? I don't see like the national
watch a movie
view
for the first time and be able to recite it, like reciting the 911 calls and the the speech, the acquittal speech, and just moments that you know what I mean. Like
totally,
it's weird. It's weird.
Finally, the number. Go ahead.
Cool. It was just weird to like see, like to feel so so close to.
It's
something
close.
It was bizarre. Yeah, it was very.
So here is the. I just want to show you guys.
Oh my God, there's Karen Roberts.
This is the part where I literally peed my pants. I literally, when I first, because this comes on this, it comes on the screen just like I'm about to show it. And when I saw it, I was literally like laughing out loud. Like
I couldn't believe it.
What I died. This is the first time you really see her. Is this moment right here?
Yes, it was great.
It's so mean, and I don't mean to be mean.
I know, I
You
feel
have
bad.
to laugh after everything that happened with
I know.
stupid tech.
Oh no, wait, this is when the people, when they make all the noise too.
Yeah, this is the opening scene. I don't
Yeah.
show the opening scene. I was very, very, I've been very clear about how I feel about this. I had to make it clear that to anyone who's not familiar with the story, that this is not what happened.
What happened?
This is not what happened. Like, I will forever look at this scene. Just this is exactly what Adam Lally kept trying to show us. First of all, look at where the flagpole is.
But I think that's why they started with that, because I think they were trying to portray what like the accusation was from the perspective of the prosecution, and that was the point.
Maybe, but I don't want this image in anyone on Earth's head, because this is absolutely not what happened.
No, that is not what happened. And that's not where he
there was and where he was. Look at where the flagpole is.
There was not that
look
much
at where
snow.
Look at where the fire hydrant is.
I know.
Look at where the flagpole is. Okay.
I see.
Also, in real life, the Albert's front lawn is half the size.
Half the size.
This one. Literally. That's also important.
Yes.
And it's so wonderful that Emily C. has
Carrie Roberts would have you
incredible.
Believe. And thanks to Emily C., who just happened to get.
So Emily just happened to get the exact amount of snow at 6:42 a.m. on January 29th of 2022.
Oh, that's
How
cool.
incredible
She took a video.
is that?
And she took a video.
She took video. She was
That's
just
awesome.
leaving her house. Like, oh, there's snow on the ground. Let me show people how much snow there is.
That's so
She
funny.
Went back. This is how much snow there was in Canton, Massachusetts at 6:42 a.m. 20 minutes after what we have just seen. Look, that's the amount of snow that John O'Keefe was found in right there.
Yeah.
So that's
because there was no
snowbank.
snow on the ground prior to this storm.
There was no snow. Yeah. And now we're going to see it again. Again, this is what they want us to see. This is what they look where the fire hydrant is. You guys we've been through it already. You know how I feel about the fire hydrant. You know about the pants, Jen's pants. Here's where they really were. Now you have to, it's maybe hard to see if you're not, don't have great vision. Here's the flagpole. And in a moment, I'm going to circle them and you'll see exactly where they are if you can't see them now. I know it's hard to see. If you know that they're there, you can see them. Right here, this is Jen McCabe, Carrie Roberts, and Karen Reed. And down here is John, right? So this little spot right here, inside that circle, that is where they are. That's where John was. He was not buried inside a snowbank.
No.
At all.
No.
And he wasn't anywhere near the fire hydrant, and he was right in front of the flagpole. So to see that though, it freaks me out. I think you're right, Jackie, that was what they were trying to portray. They were trying to portray that this is what the claim was. But I mean, if you don't know this case, what they just did is they put in your brain something very different. This is what it looked like that morning. This is it. That's John, right? In that circle. There he is. There's the car. There's John. There's the flagpole.
Right.
That's where he was.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So we know where he was. It took me a long time to figure it out because I don't really know exactly why. It took us a while to figure it out. But we've had it all along.
Right.
He was in front of us the whole time. Those are John's pants. You can actually see that he only has one, not in this image. There is an image that he only has one shoe on. You can see his sock, believe it or not. Those are his pants. He is laying truly perpendicular to the road, which again is important because the way that they had framed it was that his head was at the house. Initially. That's the way it was in the media, was painted that his feet were by the street and his head was by the house.
So it's a totally different. They portrayed it very wrong. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
totally.
He was literally buried in a snowbank on the street in the movie.
Right.
And
on the
again,
street, like right on the street.
Yes. Yeah. And that's of course, if you're trying to make the claim that he was hit by a car and that they found taillight on the street, well, that certainly makes sense then. Because that it adds credence to that claim. Because if he was found on the street in a snowbank, right, which would have also been impossible, by the way, but nonetheless, right. So I wanted to make that clear. That was like my first instinct when I saw it. I was like, no, we can't allow this to to be in the world. Like I have to make sure that the world knows that somebody
That's
somewhere
not right.
sees
Yeah,
it.
totally.
Yeah, it's not right. That one bothered
There was a
me
few
because
things. There were a few things that were sort of a little
absurd.
It was like things were either total exactly right or totally not.
Yeah, and Loophole
But
Lawyer
it was way
right.
better than
Like
I
it
thought.
was, it was better than I thought it was going to be. You're 100% right, and he was right. Like they weren't allowed to speculate.
Yeah, which makes sense. They only
Which
went
made
with what
sense.
they know was a fact, and that I think that was the right move. I thought it was kind of good
Great
though.
question. Did I don't remember this, Jackie. Did the movie depict Karen Reed shouting, "Did I hit him? Could I have hit him?" I think so.
No, when she was no,
No, it
not
didn't.
not when she was outside. No, she said it like
Okay.
she said it like
In an
inside.
interview?
So and she said it like to her dad at the hospital or something, and then she said maybe
Yeah,
to
she
someone
said
else. But
dad at the hospital.
I don't think that it was when she was outside. No.
Yes, you're right. And I think that's because they wanted
When
to
she was
try
like
to stick
committed.
to like what had been fact, what they
Right.
could verify.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Right. They didn't want to speculate as much as possible.
Right. And some
Suzanne,
things. Yes,
go ahead.
absolutely. No. You're right. Definitely.
Suzanne 8264 sends 499 says, I wondered if the proctors and others orders came from Michael Morrissey and Proctor became the fall guy. Yeah, I mean, look, Michael Morrissey had Brian Tully was Michael Morrissey's right arm. I mean, and Brian Tully, remember, was actually present at every prosecutor meeting for every witness. He's the guy that literally flew down to Texas to hand a disc to Shannon Burgess. You know, he was the guy that came with Buchanan to look for a dog. Didn't he come to New York City to try to find Chloe at one point, even though there's no Chloe anywhere, but they came down here to investigate, I guess. Like Brian Tully, he's the one that went after Turtle Boy. Like he's Michael Morrissey's right arm. When we got that dump of emails from Michael Morrissey's personal email account, Brian Tully is on every single email. He's like his
crazy.
enforcer.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's his enforcer.
But I do think that they did that. And I think, in my opinion,
100%.
is they used the text messages, the stuff they made it, you know what I'm saying? They just like latched onto that and they were like, yeah, he's a bad guy. Like, we agree with you, with everyone on this. And they used that to like, I think kind of like, you know, as a distraction or something almost to like, yes, like he's the bad guy and everything he touched, which was everything, which is the only reason why, if this happens, which is the only reason why I can't get past, like, how can you not like end this trial once the lead detective who did have their hands in everything is like banned from law enforcement? Like, how does that happen? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, and then what did they try to do, right? They tried to essentially make him not important. You had Yuri
all
Buchanan
on him too. Like everyone else got like a slap on the wrist, or like maybe they chose to but resign or something, but most of them weren't given like financial punishments in any way. Like,
no, Yuri Buchanan lost some vacation days.
Like
they were moved. I mean, some of them they were all moved.
I'm not
around,
like too mad. I'm not like too mad at Buchanan, like, because they're all to me like it's, I don't know how to explain it. Like, he's at this, like, when you think about it, like he's so far down the pole, like the totem pole there, that it's almost like, of course, he's just gonna go along with it. Like, I wouldn't expect that's not the guy that's gonna like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, what do you expect? Like, come on, look at him. So I'm like not even like that mad at him. And he like helped us. Him being the way he was on the stand certainly helped the jury go like, this is not normal. He's just supposed to be a fact finder, not like a protector of the, you know, all things
Alberts.
Yeah, like it was weird. It's like, what? I watched so much trials and true crime. It's like that's all I do. Literally all I do. Like in any other world, this is unheard of. So why is it not unheard of right now? Why isn't this bigger? Why is this like feel like while there is a big, huge movement, it's just like it should be way bigger. This should be where's the Supreme Court or something? Like, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of other stuff going on too.
I know
think,
that, but it's like
I think that's
this is
part
crazy. This is crazy.
I know it is.
This
but
is
there's
so
a lot
obvious
going
to
on.
me.
It's kind of like what Melanie said to me too. I think when she and I spoke, she said, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
it's
that's
everywhere.
true.
And so if you look anywhere, you're going to see it. This was a particularly egregious version.
This
but
one's
I
like
guess,
screaming in your face. It's so loud.
right. Not
this is the one
surprising,
where
though.
you're like, this is the one you use as an example.
Right.
And the
Oh, I
jury
know.
spoke, and the jury, and everybody always talks about, it's a jury. It always comes down to the jury. They're like, right, well,
Well,
this
that's what
jury
Karen
spoke.
was saying.
This jury spoke loud and clear. And she's right. She's the one when she goes anywhere, she's welcome anywhere in the world. And she's a superstar in Boston. The others, like, you know what I mean? These other people, they have to hide. They have to wear like black hoodies and
Yeah,
you know?
no, they do. Yes, no,
and
they
it's
do.
like so
Absolutely.
when you look at it that way, it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. Yes. So a couple of things. You're absolutely right. And it's funny.
the people have spoken. It's like,
yes,
the jury,
but
the
Karen
people.
said something interesting. Let me see if I can find it. I'll try to pull it up. I wasn't going to do it, but I will. Because she makes a statement that about this very thing that you're talking about. Let me see if I can find it very, very.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear her talk about.
You know what's funny? It's like our cousin sent a picture, saw them eating out. Remember?
Yes.
And she sent a picture, and so I thought that was funny because she like that's how much that was happening and how connected and how real that really was.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
No, of course.
Like I
want this to be a story about corruption.
So so this is Karen talking about how what she wants for her future. This interviewer had asked a few times, like, do you want to be a lawyer? What do you want to do with your moving forward? What are you going to do next? And there was a lot of discussion about the Body in the Snow documentary, and it was horrible, by the way, egregious to hear that this documentary used them. I mean, they gave them all this access, and then they wound up cutting them out of
really
any financial. Yeah, that was horrible. What a horrible story. Like,
because it would have been nice if they
said it earlier.
It would have been nice to like do a part 2 on that with like the rest of that to be, you know what I mean, and have it done. That would have been nice. And so that was unfortunate.
Smart. Like, if you're a smart documentarian, you see the opportunity and you give them whatever they ask for.
Yes, so you get the right, so you get the access again.
Exactly.
For the one that was even bigger, even better. You know what I mean? I wish that there is access to that because we were so close to it, and it was such a.
It's just so
part
stupid
of our lives,
that they screwed her over. It really is.
Yeah,
Also, really funny. I loved hearing. I've said this before. I said it when I was with Loophole. I loved hearing that Karen was talking about how these weren't really John's friends, and like you couldn't even find anybody that like knew us as a couple. I was with him for 2 years every day. I don't even know who these people are.
I can't. He's like, one time we went to a Red Sox game, and you were.
I know.
And I think, and like I threw a ball with his nephew,
and the ex-girlfriend,
and it's like they don't even know. It's like, oh yeah, Tara, the redhead. Like the like sad like high school girlfriend who was like,
that wears the
I had a crush
heart.
on him. Yes, so ridiculous.
My God. It's so ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's sad. It was sad. She's right. It's like
yes,
it sucks.
I know. You know what, Aisha? That's a great question. I see you asking, how did the film crew get away with no contract? I was asking that too. How did Karen not have a contract? But
because she said, it sounded like she said, because going into it, she thought that there was like a some sort of like clause that they would have, but they don't. Remember, she said that.
Well, she said it, but it was so vague. Like I didn't really know
It
what she
seemed
meant when
like
she
then
said
by
it.
the time she realized it, that it was like too late or something.
Yeah, it seemed like exactly with these
Like they
lawyer
took
giants
advantage of her.
around
They
you.
like they knew that, and they took advantage of her, and that even after she let them
Okay.
like invade her life.
So the Son of Sam clause.
Oh, that's what it was
No,
called.
so
Right.
there is no Son of Sam clause in
Right.
Massachusetts.
That's what I'm
though.
saying. But she didn't know that. That's what she said. It's what it sounded like. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how you could not
How
know
could
that.
you not know
Alan
that? I
Traxton
mean,
is
I
the
don't know.
lawyer.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
It did sound like that's what I
I
thought
want
at
this-
first, but now I'm thinking like, how is that possible? When
Doesn't
she
make
had these
sense. Let's hear
lawyers?
what she says here. Let's take a minute and hear what she said.
I want this to be a story about corruption. I want to have some impact on the state where I've lived most of my life and where my family's from and where we battled this. I want to make an impact on what people think about politics, about the government, about the dangers of a one-party political system, which is what Massachusetts is. It's not about liberal or conservative. It's about being one party from the founding of that government with no competition, no checks and balances. It becomes almost anarchy like it is now. We've got a district attorney who has a war chest despite not having any opposition. It's dangerous, and I believe that is why I got where I was and why I got into this position, and why until it changes, there will be other Karen Reeds. You may not hear about them. These stories,
right?
Sandra Birchmore, it's getting exposed. Other people are exposing it as well. That's what this story will be.
Okay.
And if I have to write it myself, then I'll write it myself. I want this to be a story about.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think,
me too.
You know, the
Me
truth
too.
is, like, I think she probably does need to do it herself.
Yeah. Totally.
You know, I mean, it is.
That's
her
what we
story to
want. That's what
tell.
I want. That's
Yeah,
that's what we all want. So that would make sense. Yeah.
and she's going to tell it in a different way. I mean,
Right.
you know, the thing is that she has, and I realize this. I love listening to her. I like
Me
hearing
too.
from
Me
Karen.
too.
Like, she grounds all of this in reality in a different
Yes.
way. And to be
Yes.
fair, like her experience of this is so dramatically different from how us as observers
of course.
experience it, because she felt like she was so defended and has felt so attacked personally in every way. They just
Horrible,
took
horrible.
everything.
In the
Somebody
biggest way. In the
and
biggest
somebody
way.
asked a question earlier, and I didn't address it then, about, you know, does she feel safe? And I'm sorry for not addressing it. You had asked,
It's a good.
did
Yeah.
she feel safe with this interviewer? And that's why ultimately she elected the interviewer. My guess is, and I think she says this actually in,
I thought that too.
in the interview, she doesn't feel safe anywhere. There is no more safety for Karen Reed. That's what it means to have trauma. It means the only place I'm safe is like with my mom and dad on the couch watching TV.
Right.
And even that isn't safe entirely, because at any moment, Brian Tully can knock on the door and say, you know, I'm taking
Search
you to
warrant.
jail.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. And
Right.
there's
That's
gotta, you know,
crazy.
and that's what she ultimately said. She didn't say it that way, but she did say that. She said, you know, there's no place that's safe anymore. And that's why she's so careful. You know, I experience her as careful when she spoke at every time. I've experienced her
Yeah.
the same way all the way through, as kind of, she's very articulate, but she's
Yeah.
also careful.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because, you know, she's had these
She's like-
people,
Right.
you know, trying to put her in prison. And she knows that every word she says, people are going to take and try to scrutinize. I mean, the thing though, that I just want to point out, because to me, this is so obvious, but the fact that I have to say it because you have these defending the truth people. I try not to use any kind of, you know, derogatory language when I speak
can't
about
even.
them, but
I can't.
you
do
have
it.
them running around saying things that are just,
I can't.
I don't even know. But one of the things is like, oh, Karen always lies and changes her story and all this. And it's like, but Karen
Never.
was so eager to tell her story. She was so eager to tell her story that even though she knew it was possible that she wouldn't be acquitted, after the
Right.
first trial, she wanted to be acquitted, but she knew there's a possibility that those statements could be used against her. I mean,
Right.
they all knew that, and they let her do it anyway because Karen wanted to tell her story. She did not want to keep her mouth shut.
Right.
You know, have you ever?
It's very hard to
You
do.
think if somebody came after you, okay,
Right.
if you
if you're being accused of murder and you didn't do it, would you just let everybody scream and yell that from the rooftops?
Right.
Would you try to defend yourself? Wouldn't you come out and tell your story as much? Wouldn't you want everybody to see, like, no, look, here's my phone. Let's go through it. If that were me, I would have a live stream and we would just take my Cellbrite report and I would just go through it with you.
Right.
And people are like, well, what if Brian Albert had nudes or like things he didn't want people to see? Okay, we're talking about murder. Who cares if there's nudes? Put a little, censor bubble over the nudes. Who gives a shit about nudes? We're talking about the murder of a Boston police officer. You're accusing me of murder. If I didn't do it, you better bet that I am going to be an open book. I'll take freaking truth lie detector tests in front of you live on air because I want the world to know I didn't do this. But isn't it interesting? Who have we heard from? We hear from Karen Reed. We heard from Karen Reed before she was acquitted. That's how much Karen Reed wanted to tell her story. Okay.
Right.
Have we ever heard from Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matt McCabe? Who have we heard from? We heard from Chris Albert.
I know, right?
We heard from Carrie Roberts, two people who nobody thinks were at that house
have anything
when John
to do
was
with
there.
the murder. Right. We
That's
know
right.
that they had nothing to do with the murder. They're not.
Nobody thinks they were there.
No, they weren't
Correct.
there. Right.
They weren't. Yes.
Right.
That's right. We didn't hear from Colin.
Right.
Which, of course, we didn't. Because if Colin says anything, he
Yeah.
can't tell the truth.
Yeah.
These people can't tell the
All they-
truth
all
when
they
there's
do
a
is lie.
judge and they could go to prison for lying.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're not going to say anything to us.
Right.
Right. But, the first thought in your head in April when Aidan Carney drops his story about this for the first time, and remember, for the first 2 years, the Commonwealth held the narrative. They had the narrative. They told the story, right? Soon as that started to shift because of Turtle Boy, what did they try to do? Put him in jail. That was their
To
answer.
keep him quiet
Let's
and to
find
stop
a
it.
way.
I know.
Yep. Let's find a way.
And
to
it worked. He was
Aidan
there for
Carney
like
in jail.
Wasn't he there for like 2 months or something insane?
Well, but at that point, they took too long. So it took him 6 months to put him away.
Right.
Because they had to manufacture a reason to put him in jail.
Right, which is so absurd.
It's so absurd. And they all know he's a journalist. I mean, they all knew who
Yeah.
he was. It's just
Right.
absolutely absurd. The whole thing is absurd. But they didn't say, let me sue Aidan Carney. How many defamation suits? If you listen to Aidan sometimes, he'll tell you he's had all these people sue him for defamation. It's like normal, right?
Yeah.
People sue him all the time for defamation because he says things about them and they don't want him to say them anymore. So they try to
Right.
shut him up, right?
Right.
The problem is if what you're saying is true, or if you believe it, then you can be sued all day long. But if it's true, or I believe it,
It doesn't.
there's nothing they
There's
can
nothing
do.
you can do about it. Right.
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 But wouldn't you try? Would you go to the DA and try to have that person arrested on trumped up charges? Or would you go to your civil attorney and say, let's get this guy on defamation?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see
And-
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
of course.
why? It's to me, if Karen Reed did this, wouldn't it be the other way around? Wouldn't it be that they would be the ones out there screaming from the rooftops about how innocent
Right.
they are and how they never did anything
Right.
wrong?
Right.
Why wouldn't Colin and Allie have their own talk show on YouTube?
I know. I thought that too. Like, why
Right?
isn't like Colin like doing his like thing on like TikTok or something?
Right.
Why isn't he? If he really
question.
wasn't there and really
Innocent.
knows nothing, he would be doing that.
Yes.
That like
Him and his
19-year-old
cousin Allie
kid
could have a very
Right.
successful talk show that we would all
Yes.
probably watch.
Oh my god, totally. They would. Yes.
The Innocence
Him and
Files.
Allie. Yes.
The
Yeah.
world's
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
idiots, but it would be
Yeah.
entertaining as hell.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But you know why they can't?
Right. Because they can't speak. Because God forbid
Because-
what they might say.
God forbid what they might say.
Because they know something.
Absolutely.
Or else they would
Because
do that. I mean,
their
it makes no
lives
sense.
all-
It makes no
It
sense.
all points. And when Chris Albert, and I try not to, I didn't want to go here because I don't want to, I'm a mom. do I want to, this guy is a dad. He's going to do anything he can to protect his son. Colin is a child. He was a child then. He's a child now. And I feel for those people. The problem is his parents are the ones that put him in this situation. You're the assholes that had him lying, that had him perjure himself in front of the world, in front of a jury, in front of a judge, right? So this isn't on us. This is on you. You're the one that did this to him. For whatever reason, you guys all decided you couldn't tell the truth about whatever the hell really happened. So now you want to blame all of us and say, oh, it's your fault because you look at what you did to my son. No. None of us did anything to your son. This is on you, bro. You and you alone. That's but that's not what I was going to say. When he when he speaks, when Chris Albert is on Spaces or he's on YouTube talking to those ladies, one of the things he starts out by saying, my son was 17 years old at the time. That was his comment. What does that, think about that for a second, okay? So that's the thing he opens with. What does that say to you? Because I know what it said to me.
I know. It tells me
right?
Like that's so he was dumb and stupid, so give him a break.
Right. He was dumb and stupid
and young.
Break. And young.
Yep. He was still a child and we don't condemn the children.
So it's like
that's
the
what
first
that
thing
means.
you do is you start talking.
Why is
and the
Chris
first
Albert
thing
even
you
involved
do,
at all? If it wasn't for
because he
if
has to
Colin
protect
Albert,
his
right?
kid.
If Colin didn't know anything, then why do we even hear the word? Chris Albert made the movie, and not a lot of people made the movie. Okay, he made the movie more than the other Alberts, than all the big Alberts. The phone calls, hey Chris,
it's true. Chris was in the
well.
movie.
Yes.
Well, because Chris had a relationship with John.
I know, but that's my point. My point is like, I don't know. I'm just saying.
I agree with you.
Like what
the whole
if
thing
he
is just
if
totally
he really
absurd.
wasn't there and doesn't know anything and wasn't there, then why are we hearing from the both of them?
I'm jumping in. I sometimes I hate when I do that. I feel bad jumping in on conversations when you guys are like in the middle of a talk and I jump in. No, I thought that you guys were talking about something else. I think there's a conversation in the chat going back and forth about Aiden and Karen. The only thing I did want to mention that, and I would like to hear your take on this too. I don't like to get into drama. I don't like to get into gossip because it just doesn't, I totally understand why Karen pulled away from Aiden because he is, he's a live wire sometimes and she needed consistency and safety and people that she could rely on and trust and felt safe with. And Aiden's not that kind of guy. I mean, he's just not. He's not a bad person. I think he means well. And he certainly is devastated. I don't want to say devastated. I think he is very hurt by all of this. And I think he was coming from a place of hurt. That is why he kind of turned on her. And I'm not apologizing for it. I'm not saying there was any excuses. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he was right. I'm saying I understand where he was coming from. I think he was just really hurt that she didn't didn't come on with him. It's that simple. I think he was hurt.
Yeah.
He got his feelings hurt. And, is he the most mature guy in the world? No, I don't think he would tell you he was. I would hope he wouldn't tell you he was. So he was hurt by it. And she was hurt by it too. She was hurt by his behavior, right? She felt really betrayed by him and she needs people she can trust. That is what it means to experience trauma. It means your sense of safety in the world has been completely ruptured.
Yeah.
You can't have live wires that you don't trust around you like that. She just can't tolerate that. And I understand where she's coming from. But I think he very much wants to, he can't stand it. I think he hates this. I know that Karen is having
like figure it out because it's like too bad. I feel like I don't know.
I don't know if it's going to happen. I hope so.
Know.
I hope so. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
She's having a fundraiser. If you guys don't know, I think on Friday. I think it's on Friday. Double check. And I noticed that it's like, all of the people that Aiden's had a falling out with, it's like LTL and oh my God, why am I blanking? Mike, Young Jerks from Young Jerks. It's everybody that in Karen's world,
not
Aiden. And so again, I think it's just like another,
right.
Like he's hurt. He's like hurt. I get it, but I get it from both sides, which is why I stay out of it because I could understand why he felt her. I understand why she couldn't tolerate it and just can't have somebody like that around. Like she needs a Nick Rocco, not a Turtle Boy,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
She's a
totally.
Crawford.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike Crawford. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh
God.
Turtle Boy made the
That-
mistake of
yeah.
giving the state. Yes, I know. He's a grown man. You're absolutely right. He is. But, you know, a lot of grown men don't behave like they're grown men, right? Again,
most of them.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Yes.
rare. It's rare.
Absolutely. I just don't, like I said, I just don't want to talk, you know, I'm not trying to get involved in, in the shit talking.
I don't know anything.
Exactly. And I don't want to get involved. I can, like I said, I just see it from both sides. That's it.
Yeah.
I can see it from both sides. Okay. A couple more things I want to read here. So let me ask you this, and I want to hear this from you guys in the chat too. If you could have asked Karen anything, what would your questions from, what do you want to know from Karen Reed?
That's a good question. I have a couple answers personally. I will say, like I said before, one of the things I would have asked her immediately was like how she felt, like what it felt like to be acquitted after all this, but she answered that really well.
She did
So
right away.
I was like, okay, you know, but you know, there's I don't know, it's weird, you know, with her because it's like there's like a level of me that's like, oh, I feel like she's been such a big part of my life that like I wish I knew her more personally to be like more like, because I feel like I want like to get closer, you know. But then on like a like, you know, on a journalist level, there's you know, that's not what I am, but I'm saying like from that point of view, like from, you know, the general like what do we all think on it, like what does the, you know, majority think?
Yep.
You know what I mean? But the one thing I've like for me personally, like that I cannot get past is why she never went in the house. Like
that's
why
what
didn't she go in
everybody's
the house?
asking.
Like
everybody's
what the hell?
asking.
Like let me tell you something, okay?
That's so
if
funny.
my man
Everybody
is
asks
if
that
my
question.
man is like,
I hope
especially
so.
under this scenario, okay? If my man is in any house at any time, I feel like I own the house. You know what I mean? It's like if my kids are in someone's house, like I'll walk right in the house, like my kids are in this house. I'm not gonna knock and wait outside. It's like
right.
You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Like
yeah,
it's kind of like, and these are people like, how did she not at any point though, even why didn't she like see John in the snowbank, do this, someone call 911 and then run up to the front door and start like banging? Like at any point, why didn't she knock on the door? I can't get past that, dude. Like does that not haunt her dreams that she didn't like? Is that why we don't bring it up? Is that a hard question for her to be asked? Because it's like that would be, you know what I'm saying? Like imagine it. Because imagine she went in the house.
That's interesting.
This whole story is different. She goes in the house.
So that's so interesting. I'm gonna, you know what? Maybe I'll ask this question to everybody because I love this question. I think it's so interesting that everybody's went right to why didn't she go in the house? At any point, whether it was that night, right when he went in, why didn't you go in to find him, or the next morning, why didn't you go in the house?
At any point.
At any point. I think it's great. That's a great question. My questions are definitely more. I have questions more about Higgins because to me, it's along the same lines, but to me, it's like, how did you not immediately know to blame him? Because she clearly didn't.
Yeah.
According to Aiden, she never ever point the finger at him.
Didn't
not
even occur. No, I mean the next day, which is John is dead. The last message.
I know.
The infamous last message. John is dead. Like, hey,
John
hello.
died, yeah.
It's like you haven't like you're the one I'm gonna reach out to this other man for support. That's what that was to me. Like that early, you know, she wasn't anywhere near that. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, like
she wasn't anywhere near that.
One of the questions I would have asked her was what was the deal with her and Brian Higgins? What was the deal? What was the deal? Like, I want to know, like, explain these, like narrate these text messages, like a little bit more, like give us some context behind these. What really happened? A lot of people want to know, did they do more than kiss? You know, there's like, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? But yes, it was very odd that John died. It really was. And so this whole, I want to know, like, did she start to, after the fact, like, go back and look at it differently once all this started to come, like, people put this together as like a motive? You know, once the, because how often do you analyze like a night at the bar with the surveillance camera like this?
Right. Yes.
And look and be like, oh, this is what everyone else was doing when I wasn't paying attention.
No, you don't. But so, yes. And Twigs, the Gemini, sends $2, says the John died text to Higgins was odd. Hi, Twigs.
It was so odd.
Big shout out to Twigs. So nice to see you. It was very, very odd. And we're going to take a much closer look at that in just 1 minute. Let me read this too. I didn't see this till right now. Does this say Raquel? Raquel where? Is that Raquel or Rachel? Raquel, right?
Rochelle.
Rochelle where? Rochelle or Raquel? I don't know. 9397 sends $5. Says Berkowitz was on the phone with Brian and Lank. Absolutely. Knew he was retiring, the chief of police, and got on board to help Higgy, and the proctor was the patsy. Yeah, 100%. I 100% believe that Berkowitz was huge in this. The interesting thing to me, though, is that one of the things that Tully says in court is that the decision makers were Berkowitz, Tully, and
Lank,
the DA. No, not Lank.
Oh, Morrissey.
The DA, Morrissey. That those were the three guys making all decisions on that day.
Yes.
And that to me was a really important moment because
remember,
Lally says, so wait a minute, the DA was involved in all these decisions, Michael Morrissey? And he says, yes. And he's like, is that odd for him to be involved? And Tully's like, no, that's not odd at all. Right. So to me, you're absolutely right. And the question is, was Morrissey also involved? How much did Morrissey know? I don't know the answer to that, but that's the question for me. The other players were very much. I couldn't agree with you more. You're 100% right. Couldn't agree with you more. So I'm going to show you this because I have really been thinking about this. And to everybody's point in the chat about, Aiden's a grown man, I get all that, but I want us all to put on our young person, like, for me, it would have been late high school age, but it may not be that for other people. I'm thinking like 20s, college age, like put on like your young adolescent, late adolescent, early 20s hat and think about any time you ever liked a person or had a crush, or you were not together yet. You weren't even dating yet, but you're talking, right?
Right, of course.
Okay, so put that into your mind. And now we're thinking about Higgins and Karen and their texting. Now, in most situations, and you guys know this, we all know this, we know the game, there's the chase, right? One person is always chasing and the other is usually avoiding, and then it goes the other way. So, right, as soon as one person stops chasing, that person then's like, wait a minute, you're not chasing anymore. And now they start chasing, and we have this constant tension between these two, right? So, keeping that in mind, we're going to go back to the waterfall in just a moment. And I want you to watch Karen read. Okay, just watch her. Because when we're watching this, and in the past, when I've watched the waterfall video, I'm watching it for everybody else. I'm watching it to watch Higgins. I'm watching it to watch Higgins and Albert. I'm watching it to watch John, of course, right? I'm even watching it to watch Jennifer McCabe. The one person I'm not as mindful about where she is and what she's doing is Karen. But I'm going to show you something, and this to me is really important. And while we're watching this, keep something else in mind. At no point, according to Aiden Carney, and I believe him, I don't think he's lying about this, at no point did Karen ever bring Higgins up. So much so that he was totally shocked about the text. Shocked, right? He said he didn't even learn about them until the trial when all of us learned about them. And at no time, and I know people are going to say, Scanlon told her it was Colin and Brian Albert. And I agree with you. And I'm not suggesting that you're wrong. I think you're right. But I just need you to put on your adolescent hat and think about the crush situation for a minute. And we're going to go back to the waterfall. Okay. I get it, but how do you not have this? I can't. How do you not see this?
I don't
How
know.
do you not see it as a threat? How do you not realize that this was a real possible
Especially even
threat?
now, like this is so obvious now.
Oh
Even
my God,
now,
Ruth Ann 85 member for 6 months. Oh my God, shout out Ruth Ann 85. I cannot believe it's been 6 months.
I know,
That's
right? It's crazy.
insane.
It is
Holy
crazy.
shit, that's
It
crazy.
is crazy.
Oh my God, it's amazing. All right, we're gonna watch this. I'm gonna make you watch this because you have to see this from a different lens. I don't know. You got to watch this from different. So this
All right,
is
let's do it.
Riders rendition. Here we go. He puts this to music, and the numbers are going to jump. By the way, if somebody has time, and you have time on your hands, and you want to put all the waterfall footage together, there is no currently that I am aware of one video of the waterfall the whole night. It's a 75-minute video, but there isn't a 175-minute video. You have to like pull all these clips together. And Aussie Insider was gracious enough to do that here. So we do have a lot of it. Now, already Karen has walked in. So she walks in very quickly, and then we're going to jump. So she's going to come in with John. It's into this blur on the left. So it's already jumped. We're at 10:58. Okay. To the best of your ability, keep your eye on Brian Higgins.
She's over
Everybody
like
knows where
in
Brian
the right
Higgins
corner.
is.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So we're right. Let's just keep your eye on Higgins first because she.
We get this nice soundtrack too. Cool.
Did she put this?
That's nice.
I think of like Train Spotting or something for some reason when I hear that song. So there's Jen. I can see Jen just based on the way she's moving. Right. So she's behind the table in front of the bar.
I can see Karen.
Where do you see Karen right now?
She's all the way to the right. Is that her? Like moving? There's like see the white jacket.
Oh yeah, I see her.
Okay.
There's
like a bunch of a crowd of people, and then there's like one or two or people deep and like moving around. Is that her?
Yes. So I think yes. Karen is behind Jen right now. Jen is taller, and she's like laughing and leaning forward. And I think Karen is right.
They
behind
like sitting on the bar.
They're not sitting on the bar. They're
standing next to it.
And there it is. Now we have better lighting. There it is. Okay.
There it is. Yeah.
It's 11:47 now.
Right there.
We've jumped.
Yeah. This is better.
And now I want you to watch Karen. Do you see where she is?
Yeah, I can see her now.
Okay, you see her. So
she's
see
like
where Brian
right
Higgins
next
is?
to him. Yeah. They're like really close together right now.
Right now. If you watch this carefully, watch how she just gets closer and closer and closer. She starts out far away and then positions herself
that's true.
Closer and closer
That's
and closer
true.
Until
there's no way
watching.
That's not on purpose if they're like chit-chatting.
Keep watching. She's not talking to him. She never says a word to him
we know that.
at all.
Of course, we know that. The well.
Yes. This is okay. So he's now doing the peacocking, right? So he's play fighting with Brian Albert. Karen's giving hugs to the McCabe's, to Jen and Matt. That's her. She's got her arms around Matt and Jen. John has stepped back in this
So who is
There's
this
another
person
video.
that's like, who is this person that they're talking to with this striped shirt on over here on the right?
I forget who
Well,
that is.
maybe his like what he knows about this like is important.
No, isn't that
is that not like heard of before? Do we not
it's like
speak to this guy already?
Kolakithis,
So what was being said? Anything? They were just like being stupid with this guy, like pretending to fight. That's all.
Hold on a second. Sam, someone said that Higgins did what he did with Albert to show off.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll come back to that in 1 second. Because I think
like to be seen. He's trying to be seen, and she's right there, and he's trying to be seen.
And so
he leans over. You know he was so they were also just all day like in a car together and like drunk and like emotional because like it was like a sad thing maybe, and there was like some I don't know. I feel like he was maybe talking.
Look at this moment. This is an important moment. Watch this moment right here.
Look how close they are.
Yes. This is the moment. Brian he's play fighting with Brian Albert. That breaks up. He then moves closer to Karen. He puts his right foot on the chair that she is currently either standing
Oh, I never
on
even
or
noticed
sitting
that.
in. And then watch what happens next. Keep watching.
Oh my God,
She's
this is
not done.
crazy.
She
This is
hasn't,
crazy.
she's not even done. This is just, she just keeps getting closer and closer until in seconds, she's literally almost standing on him, but not talking to him.
And his foot is still, oh, okay.
No, he backs up.
Now
Keep
he's
watching.
like really looking at her.
Well, now he's looking at his phone.
Oh,
He stepped away to check his phone to see if she texted him back.
Oh, is that the moment? Do we
See,
know that's the moment?
I
We
know
must
that
be able
because
to know.
I know this footage from a different video also that's got closer up.
Right. But we must know by the timestamp.
We know.
Right?
He already
The
said it at
exact
11:30.
moment.
Yes.
It was at
it already
11:30.
happened.
That was 20 minutes ago.
Right.
So
Yep,
where's
she's
that
not
moment?
checking it. No, there it is. Woo! Wait, this just sped up.
Wait, is that her with the jacket?
Nope, she's still exactly where she was. You see where she is, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. Her hair's it's got the long hair and like that two-tone North Face.
Yeah.
Look at where she is now.
She's like almost
11:53.
touching him.
She's almost touching him.
Wait, but that just
And
went. You just went backwards by like 7 minutes.
Did I go backward? It speeds up. So I'm trying to like slow it down.
Oh, okay.
So
I see.
11:53. Keep watching.
Oh, it's seconds. Is that what
Yeah, it's
that is?
seconds. So that keep watching. We know that's not Karen. I think that's now they actually I didn't even realize. Look at this. They moved the table. Did you know that? Did you notice that they moved the table?
No.
That their wrestling moves the table behind them.
Yes. I've seen that.
I've never seen that before.
Like you mean like
Physically,
on accident?
they are pushing
Yes,
back the table
I've
behind
noticed
them.
that. I've noticed that. Yeah.
Far.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Totally.
They completely pushed it back. Okay.
Yeah, it's like at an angle.
Yeah. So now they're hugging.
And now is that her with the jacket on?
No. Karen
That
does not
Jen?
have a jacket. She's got the North Face. That is the Kolakithis wife.
Oh, okay.
It's not Jen. Jen doesn't have a hood. Karen is talking to her. That's
Oh, okay.
the
Got
person.
it.
We don't see Karen because she's being blocked by the Kolakithis.
Okay, but she comes
woman.
back into view, so
She does come back into view.
yeah.
So now look, Brian's got his hand. Brian Albert is literally like hugging
I see
on
that.
Brian Albert. It's nice. But this is my point is that this continues. And
Right.
I should get the other video because in the other video you can see it even more closely. It's close up and you can
Isn't
is cut
she,
out
like-
of this one.
Is she
He's
like
literally talking to Brian Albert, jumping over Brian Higgins to talk to Brian Albert, who's next to Brian Higgins.
wait, she is
Literally. And they're not talking and she doesn't speak to him at all. Now, here's the thing I want to ask all of us, right? If somebody is not
Oh,
important
there's
to you,
John.
this is now 12. We're leaving now. Everybody's leaving.
Sorry, go ahead.
So if somebody's not important to you, right? Like if you really are indifferent about them, you don't ignore them. If
Right,
I'm
you don't care.
indifferent about you,
Like,
I'm
"Hey,
not
what's up?"
ignoring you. I'll be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
You know, what's up? High five. You
Yeah.
know, like it might be a little weird because we're talking and we're not anymore.
Right.
But what I'm not going to do is put myself physically right in front of that person and like yell and scream and talk to the guy next to them and like bend over, like jump over them to talk to the person next to them. And remember, like they know each other from the bar. That's how they know each other from the drinking at the hillside. Like they're
Right.
friendly at the bar, right? For her to
Right.
just totally ignore him. Lots of people have insinuated that she was done with it, that she was over it, that she had ghosted him. But I ask you,
I don't
I will tell you, if a man doesn't respond to my texts or doesn't initiate from me, I'm not going to text him.
absolutely not.
Right. That
And
doesn't mean
even
that I don't
so-
like him.
I mean, think about it. When she sent the message, the John died message, I think that
Yeah.
to me was like a lack, like her, like, what do I like feeling like should say something like, but didn't know what to say. So she just sent John died.
She
That's-
liked Brian Higgins and Brian
what I
Higgins
mean.
liked her. And neither one of them wanted to be the chaser.
Instigator or
Chaser.
I see
Like,
what you mean. Yeah.
He
They're like, the pride was like in the way there a little.
I think his was, and for
His
her,
and
I don't
for
know
her,
if it was
she's in a
pride.
relationship still, so
She's
she
in a
can't.
relationship.
She can't.
Right, and she doesn't necessarily
She
want
was like
that from
playing.
him.
It was right. She was sort of just like dangling some bait to see what would happen, and maybe didn't realize like what. Maybe I should have done that. I don't know.
I don't know, but in my mind, if that guy at 11:30 sends me the well text,
Yeah.
and throughout that night, somebody asked about him play fighting. We call that peacocking. Essentially, it means like Brian Higgins sends the well text at 11:30. And right before that, again, Karen's talking to Jen and Matt, and she's in that little corner. John is there too. He's a little removed, but he's there too. But then as you continue to watch, she doesn't look at her phone, but they're right next to each other from 11:30 to the time that Higgins leaves first. And remember, Higgins leaves. They have that whole exchange where he's yelling at John from across the bar, trying to get him to come to the Albert's house. Then he sends the follow-up text, like, you come in here, right? Which is
right.
The question is like, why would Brian Higgins out of nowhere all of a sudden feel aggression towards John? And
I think he was eager to get him in, like, he just was probably by that time he was like, in a effort sort of mood, and was frustrated because he wanted to maybe find out what John knew. I don't know, because he was drunk and bored and like lonely. I don't know.
That matters. It's relevant. It's a legitimate question, right?
No,
this
totally.
guy, John, dies.
I know, it's crazy. That put an end to it all, though, regardless of whether she was. I felt like that almost was like oh my God moment, because in her mind she's like doesn't connect the two, so she thinks it's like coincidental almost. It's like, oh my God, now I don't have a man, but I don't like, what do I like?
Yeah, she's not it's not registering for Karen Reed that Brian Higgins is at all involved in any of this.
No.
And here's what I wanted.
That he like could have potentially been the one that killed him.
It did not register. Right. Here is where'd my sister go? Sorry, sissy. I took you out by accident. I might just take that out. Here we go. All right.
I'm going to have to go soon anyways, honey.
All right. So,
because just to let you know.
What time is it?
A couple of minutes.
All right. So this is the Natalie the German text where Natalie actually asks Karen. She says, like, bro, what's up with the 56 pages of text messages to Higgins? I mean, most married couples don't have that many pages. What was up with that, right?
Yep.
And so Karen then continues to minimize. Well, there are only 4 pages, and we hung out with Higgins several times a month, and he only lived a block away, which was news to me. Right?
I think she believes that. I feel like that she believed that maybe at that time. Somehow.
Right. And then she thought about it more, and then writes the second text. Literally,
well,
maybe
then
10
like
days worth of
evidence
text.
starts to come out, and she has no choice but to believe that he may have had something to do with it.
I don't think so. That's the thing. According to Aiden, that these text messages from Karen's point of view were the state trying to make it seem like Karen had a reason to want to hurt John.
That's ridiculous.
You know what I'm saying? Like, from Karen's point of view,
she didn't kill him. A, and B, if she did, it had nothing to do with intentions.
Of course not. I know it's ridiculous, but from her view, that's what Proctor was doing, right? Like, he was blowing this up to try to make it seem like Karen was mad at John and cheating on him with Higgins, and that was why she hit him with her car. Because remember, they were saying it was intentional.
I know,
right?
that was the second-degree murder arrest when she was like asking to change, and he was like, "Can you believe her? Oh my God, all she cares about is the way she looks." Proctor,
right? Yes.
So punch him in the face.
Proctor thinks she's crazy, right? He thinks she's nuts and just writes her off as crazy. But
all she cares, I couldn't believe that. I'm like, wow.
To me, though, I just don't get the sense that she doesn't see. She just doesn't see she can't for some reason make the connection that like Higgins may have been aggressive with John.
The
And that,
motive
for
was
me,
a fight over a girl, not killing, not murder. But
no,
it was
it wasn't
like,
murder.
no, but like I believe that they were trying to get, obviously they were trying to get John over to the house because they wanted to like they had a motive more than like, hey, you're a cool dude, like come hang out with us. There was a motive bigger than that. That's all I know.
I don't know if
he was mad about something. How about when they walked out and they were all trying to hold him back? You can't say that there wasn't something going on.
Oh no, for sure. For Higgins there was. So like,
yeah,
Vince, loophole lawyer, is trying to find like the moment where he was triggered because he's kind of drunk and playful fighting with Brian Albert, and then all of a sudden he's ready to beat up John 20 minutes later.
I think it's because John was so like oblivious. It was a miscommunication. So right after that video we just saw, but like right before they walk out the door, he's trying to get their attention, and Karen is like not like it seems like she's purposely keeping John from paying attention almost, and then he just sort of finally notices that like they're pointing to him, and he's like and I think it's like he's mad because he thinks he's being more like, I think it sets off Higgins because he thinks that John is being sort of like, I don't know, like
dismissive?
No, like maybe like rubbing her in his face. Like, because I think they like kind of get like close, Karen and John, in that moment. But but really John is just oblivious, like trying to be like cool and wanting to be like, hey. Does that make sense?
I don't know. I just don't.
To me, that's what it seems like. It seems like because he's drunk in that moment, for whatever reason, he sees them like together close when he's trying to get his attention, and he like thinks for some reason that he's purposely like I think he puts his arm around her and like brings her closer and like rubs her like, and then at the same time with the other hand maybe like waves or something. Okay. I don't know. I don't remember, but I feel like I've seen something to make me think that was that there.
I see what you're saying,
but it was like not that at all. And because he was drunk, it was like almost like he manifested it in his, because he was pissed about, obviously with the unwell text, he was thinking about it, whatever it is, which is the question I would ask Karen. What is it?
The part that
what was the deal?
Like, never made sense to me about that was, it never occurred to me though until watching the waterfall video that Karen's behavior may have facilitated an increase in anger, not a decrease in anger. In other words, because what's the message that it sends to you if I'm putting myself right in front of you and I'm performing, but I'm not talking to you? Does that tell you that you're not important or that you're important?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know. It depends. It depends because Higgins was like drunk, and it depends if you're intoxicated and like they've had a long day, so they're tired, right? They're intoxicated,
acting like teenagers is what's happening.
Yeah. And they're just like,
so how would you act?
It's all exploding, and at the same time,
so how does a teenage boy think about a girl he likes putting herself in front of him, drunk, ignoring him?
Right. And then throwing herself at her current boyfriend. But she's
like, not doing that in front of him.
But that's what I thought. I think that's how he saw it. That's what I'm trying to say.
But she doesn't, but he's not. He doesn't do that in front of him.
I think, but they get close or something. They're close together. Like Karen, maybe like, I don't know. I'm telling you, something like that. I got to look at it again.
To me, the unwell text was
like the final sort of like, well,
what are you doing? Like is what it was.
It like WTF could have been.
It was what the
same.
fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
To me,
but I used to think it was because of something that happened before that night. Like it was a what the fuck because of the conversation they had a week earlier.
I think it was how you're ignoring me. Like, what is wrong with you? Hello.
Exactly. You're ignoring me and putting yourself in front of me.
We've been, yes. And like, right. With your, but they were close. Her and John were like being all flirty, whatever, at the bar that night.
I don't
right
know.
in front
I
of
have to
him.
look at that part again.
They were.
I don't know. All I know
telling
about
you.
that was the kiss on the forehead.
They were close enough where like where like I could see where that'd be like frustrating where she's on these text messages, she's portraying like there's a lot of they should be like on the outs, like almost done, not even talking to each other. And then the whole time they're all like canoodly whatever at the bar with him there. And she's like doing it in front of him.
Okay, fine. But why would that make me want to beat up John?
Because
I hear what you're saying.
I think
that would
that
make
maybe
you mad at Karen.
because I think maybe he was like maybe he thought that John knew and was like rubbing it in his face that she just told him and they're moving on or something. Maybe he knows. He must know. And so they're not allowed to talk to me. She's not allowed to talk to me.
I don't know.
Because why else? Because the whole time he's obviously trying to make sense of why she's not like acknowledging him. So what do? You try to come up with crazy reasons why. And you're drunk and you're him and you're tired and all this. So I think maybe he came to the conclusion that they had discussed the Brian Higgins thing and the kiss.
Okay.
And he was rubbing it in his face. And he just took a wrong. That's what I think.
What if
I don't know.
instead, what if Higgins decides, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to ask John, what's the deal with you and Karen?
Yeah, maybe.
Like
and maybe he did.
of-
Maybe that was the question when he walked into the garage or whatever.
Right. Well,
maybe
when
he did.
maybe,
And maybe
that's
John's
why
reaction
Higgins wants
was
to get him there.
Maybe John's reaction was
defensive.
Immediately like stay the F away. And
Of
then
course.
Because of the booze and there was a lot of probably testosterone built up obviously at that point. I mean, Brian Higgins had been play fighting less than an hour before and it probably turned into something, or maybe the dog attacked first, or I have no idea.
Right.
Something happened, but maybe that is the instigating that, like how because whatever happened, it happened quick. It happened quick.
I know. So that's the question. So I see that, right? That's the problem is that I agree with that about the guy code, but something happened to where it bypassed that part of him enough that he approached John instead of Karen. Because up until this point with
because
Higgins,
she
that's the
wasn't
thing.
answering him and he was probably
but
like F it.
They had stopped talking though for the days already. Like it wasn't like they were talking up until that moment.
You don't
And
think
then
John-
they get to the bar.
No, what if John walked in the house or whatever or maybe they were out back taking the dog out back and they knew he was coming and they just hey John, over here, and they went around the back and he said something like, I kissed your girl. Did she tell you about the kiss or something? Maybe he wanted to be in it. Maybe he just didn't maybe he just didn't care. I don't know.
Well, that's
I
what
doubt it. I don't know
wanna
that that's what it was, but who knows? How do we not know? I want to know. So
Well, I
bad.
mean, because life is logical 99% of the time, right?
Yes.
Things usually make sense. I mean, it may not make sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's because you don't have all the information.
Maybe he walked
Right,
in the
so-
house and fell and tripped and smacked his head on the side of the garage.
Something. John has bruises on
And then
backs of his
and
hands.
then immediately
John hit something.
And yeah,
So,
there
so
was
John didn't just fall.
It was
John has
obviously a
bruises
fight.
on the
I
backs
know,
of his
no, no,
hands.
I know.
He hit somebody. He
I
has a
know it
bruise
was
on
a fight.
both.
I don't know why I said that. I know it was a fight because
Yeah, he hit somebody. So whoever he was fighting,
and there
with,
was aggression. I mean, they were
there was
play
aggression.
fighting.
There was
They
a
were
threat.
ready to fight. To me,
Brian
yeah.
Higgins
And he was like
threatened
trying. He was like, and they were trying to like hold him back on the way out. You don't hold someone back just to get someone's attention.
He threatened.
In that case, you rush them out. If you're like, I don't want to deal with this, you rush them out.
They
You
did
don't
rush
try
him
to,
out.
but you don't stop him from trying to get to somebody else. Like that's different. He was going.
There was a
you know what I
threat.
mean?
I don't think John saw it as a threat, but Brian Higgins threatened him.
I don't know what I want to know. I wish I knew.
I
Pretty nice.
just, to me, like I said, you kind of already touched on it, but for me, it's like, if I was Karen, I would never have let John out of my sight if I knew
No.
that Brian Higgins was going to be in the house, because
As
it would
soon
be
as
so
she
clear.
woke up, I wouldn't even have called. I would have called and gotten in the car and driven right back over to that house immediately and knocked on the door. Where's
Well,
my
you would have done
boyfriend?
that. I know you would have done that. That's very clear. You absolutely would have done that. Yes.
I mean, I would have done that after 5 minutes in the car. I would have just walked right in the house.
Yes,
and
yes,
I
you're
would have just
100%
been
right.
like, hello.
Listen,
and
maybe
never
we're
would have
all-
left.
Thank God she didn't, because who knows what they would have done.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Sister, I gotta go because this is gonna die. And Sloaney just woke
All
up.
right, go, sister. It's so nice to have you. We'll hang out for a
having me.
few
I know,
minutes and
I
answer
know.
people's
Yeah, definitely.
comments.
Thank you so much. Love
It's
everybody.
nice to have you.
One love. Love you,
Bye.
sis.
Love to
Love
everybody.
you, everybody.
Bye, Sissy
Bye.
Bear. Mm-hmm. So I see your guys' chat, right? The thing for me is there's something missing. And that's always the case. And in my experience, if I can't put pieces together, it's because I'm missing information, not because things don't make sense. Because in life, my experience is things make sense. You just don't always have all the pieces yet, right? And there's something about this stuff with Higgins that I'm missing at the waterfall. There's something missing, and I can't quite put it together just yet. But I'm not going to stop until we are, and we do. Twigs the Gemini sends $10, says, Jackie, what do you think about Colin leaving the house, seeing Higgins outside? What do you think about Colin leaving the house, seeing Higgins outside before Karen pulls up? Couldn't that be a reason why Colin was kept out? It would put a time on Higgins being outside. Jackie, what do you think about Colin leaving the house? That's interesting. Well, I don't think she doesn't think that Colin left. I know my sister doesn't think Colin left the house. And I don't think Colin left the house either. So I know that she doesn't think that he left the house. So I don't think Colin left the house, both because Allie's absolutely lying about the fact that she picked him up, and because we would see them on the video camera at the exact time that we are watching the same video of Karen Reed driving through town. They would be at the intersection, if what they're telling us is true, at like exactly 12:20 or something like that. It's sometime in the 12 to 12:30 timeline. And they're not there. So whatever they're telling us isn't true. And the question for me about Colin, I believe Colin was there. Why do I believe Colin was there? Because of their lying about it. So it's like either Colin was there or Colin was somewhere else they don't want to tell us about. But what's definitely not true is that Allie picked him up and took him home. That definitely didn't happen. What happened instead, I don't know. But the pattern with this group, the pattern with the McAlberts, with the kids, their first instinct was deny that everybody was there. Remember, that very first night, right? The very first report, they tried to say that Caitlin left before. They tried to say that none of the kids were there, right? That was the first instinct. The first instinct was to just deny that the children were involved at all. And then they couldn't do that at a certain point. They kind of had to come clean about Caitlin. They wind up, of course, screwing up the timeline with Caitlin. Most of us think that she had to have left long before she did, or they say she did because she had to take the dog out of the house. Whatever. But the first instinct clearly was to just try to protect the kids. And it's hard to know whether or not Colin was part of that group where they just were like, okay, we're going to protect Colin and he has a bad reputation. We don't want him to get caught up in this thing. So we're just going to lie. And then, of course, that lie ends up, forcing them to have to lie more. Oh, Colin's never been in a fight. Oh, only he's ever fought with his brothers and all this other, right? I mean, if you really watch Colin's testimony closely, Colin lies so egregiously that it just starts to get almost laughable, and very quickly, within minutes into his direct examination, not even cross-examination, direct examination, Adam Lally's like, is Allie your cousin who you talk to? And he's like, I don't know. He just can't tell the truth. And it's really obvious. And it ends up screwing Adam Lally because he's like just trying to get him to answer a basic question, but Colin's panicking because he doesn't know what he's supposed to say. And so he just starts going, I don't remember. I don't recall. I don't know. He's lying very obviously. So I don't know. I think certainly I would put Colin at the house. I just don't know what his role is there. And to me, there's two facts that are very tough for me to get past when I'm thinking about who's responsible for this death, right? One is Brian Higgins evidences an incredible amount of consciousness of guilt, both all through his testimony. His entire testimony is deceptive. Everything he says, he's crying on the stand. That one exchange where Alan Jackson has him thinking about not seeing the body on the lawn. He brings up the fact that he's a tactical medic. And all of a sudden, we've got Brian Higgins crying, right? Like literally falling to pieces, thinking about John's dead body. Now, if you're an innocent man who has nothing to do with this, why would you be crying at the very image of John's dead body? There should be no image of that for you. You should have no image of that in your mind, but it's quite clear that Brian Higgins does. And he also tells us in that moment that if he had seen that body, he would have done everything he could to save him. And I believe he probably did. He also, because he was such an experienced medic, would have also known that John O'Keefe was dead very quickly. He would have known that he could not be saved, right? That once that fall happens, that's that. Like he cannot be, there's not going to be an ambulance that comes and rushes him to the hospital and saves the day. So to me, Brian Higgins absolutely experiences consciousness of guilt. He himself thinks he's responsible for this, in my opinion of what I've seen of him. The other thing that I know is that Brian Albert places himself away from the group with Brian Higgins, that he literally finds a way to take himself away from everybody by his own admission and says, yep, me and Brian Higgins are upstairs in my son's room looking at pictures of my son in the Marines. That's what Brian Albert tells us. So what does that say? That says that the man of the house, the man of the hour, the guy who's pulling all the strings in the background, wants us to believe that he and Higgins had a reason, an excuse to be away from everybody else. So what does that mean? It means that the two guys who definitively were away from everybody else were those two. And they both tell us that Nicole may have peeked her head in, which tells you, did Brian bring Nicole in to let her know what was going on? I mean, that's the image that they're painting, right? Is it true? To me, that's the closest truth that I have based on everything that I know about this case. But it's hard to believe that, Brian Higgins was going to beat his ass because, he wanted his girlfriend. It's like so adolescent. It's like, is this really what happened? And the answer might be yes, but it's still hard. Let's see here. I'm going to read the rest of these. While Karen was supposedly, all right, here we go. Cynthia Marks is a pretty name. 139 sends 499 says, while Karen was supposedly ignoring Higgins, they were standing so close together. I bet the sexual tension was 100%. Was she still playing games? See, that's the thing. I think she might have been. I think they were both pretty. First of all, he's wasted. He can barely stand. I mean, he's like literally, like unbalanced, falling back, like trying to hold himself up. They're wrestling. The table behind them is like moving feet behind them, right? I mean, they're like knocking stuff over. he's really unsteady on his feet, Brian Higgins. So he's wasted and she's buzzed. Clearly. I mean, clearly Karen had a lot to drink, right? I could not drink. I could tell you right now, if I drank, and I'm not judging Karen for drinking too much. Believe me, I'm not. I'm just telling you, if I drank as much as she did on that night, I would be vomiting for like the next 3 days. I mean, I know at that point she had a tolerance, but she drank a lot. She was definitely feeling the effects of alcohol in that moment. So I think she absolutely was. I think she absolutely was. Yes. I think she absolutely was. Yes. That's my opinion is it was more of the same from her view. Like she wanted the attention. Right? And I'm not going to blame her for that, but I know she didn't think it was going to result in what it resulted in. My God. And who would? Who would ever think it would? This is insane. John O'Keefe was murdered by one of these men. Ugh. And I used to think that it must have been that Jen McCabe knew about it before she left that house that night. Now I think that now I'm on the fence. I'm not as sure as I used to be about that. Holy crap. 5 months, Twigs. We've been together for 5 months. Can you fucking believe that? Oh my God. You guys, time is doing such weird things. It really is. It's like flying by. It's the craziest thing in the whole world. Abacus Flinch sends $20, says, remember in Brian Higgins' testimony in the first trial that Brian claims he never spoke to Karen and barely registered she and John were there. That tells me watching them was a cause of his anger at John. Well, there's another thing he says, though, too. Do I have it? I might have it even like right here because it stuck with me. It stuck with me. It drove me nuts. Even though I don't always talk about Brian Higgins, there's no question that of all of the people in this case, the one I spent the most time on is Brian Higgins. I've listened to his testimony forward and back hours, and I mean hours, more hours than I could even count at this point, right? Trying to assess all of what we're talking about right now. And he says one thing. He said, I did not feel ignored. Because remember, Alan Jackson's like, was she ignoring you? Did you, right? And he says, no, I didn't feel ignored. I can't, it might be right here. If it's right here, I'll pull it right up. And if it's not, then I'll forget about it. But I had it right here. Is this it? This might be it. Let me see if I can. This could be it. Here. Okay. I'm going to pull this on the screen. Here we go. All right. I'm going to pull this off so that I can hide this here for a second. All right. So there was the well right there. Okay. So as he's sending that well text, this is the micro dots video. And I love the micro dots video because they zoom all the way in, did the best job that anybody could to try to clean up the video. So there's Higgins checking his phone. And you'll see here, you can see how close Karen is. She's right in front of him. Right? It's harder to see in the other video because we're so far away and our view is blocked by the person standing next to Brian Higgins. But here you can see that she's directly in front of him. Right? That's important. Look how close she is. Look how close she is to him. I mean, she's leaning over, talking to the people right in front of him. Right? So this to me doesn't say, so, and the reason, Abacus, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because in his testimony, one of the things that Sergio Denaro said when he did an analysis of Brian Higgins' testimony was that the statement that he did not feel ignored might be true. And when he said that, it bothered the hell out of me. I like took real issue with it because I was like, he has to feel ignored in order for him to be angry at John, right? But what if that is true? What if he didn't feel ignored because actually Karen is performing in front of him? If Karen is performing in front of him, what is it saying to Brian Higgins? It's saying like, here I am, pay attention to me. I do want you. I do want you to look at me. I think this is it right
That's what
here.
we've just read.
Oops,
Another
sorry.
page. Just take a look at that page and see if you see a date on it. The first page.
I see it, yes.
May I
No, this
approach?
isn't
Yes. What's the date, sir?
June 1st?
2023?
Yes.
Let's see if this is it.
How long did you stay at the Albert residence until
No.
you leaving? You walked out the side breezeway door, correct?
Yes.
You walked down the driveway.
Yes.
There's nothing obstructing your view at that point of the lawn to your right, correct?
I didn't look over there, but I would not think so.
Between you and the flagpole, in other words, there wasn't some mound of dirt, something obstructing your view. You could see straight across if you wanted to, correct?
If I wanted to, yes.
It's just basically a flat, grassy lawn with a light dusting of white powder snow on it, right?
I don't know how much snow was, but there was snow there.
Yeah, you indicated that it wasn't even enough to stick to the pavement at that point.
Well, that's when I got there, yes.
Well, you only.
All right, so this interaction that you're about to see, this was the interaction that when I saw it, really saw it for the first time, told me without a doubt that Brian Higgins is involved. There's no doubt. I was absolutely sure after I saw this interaction. That's why I'm letting it play. It's very short, so I'll let it finish so you can see it if you haven't seen it. To me, it was just absolutely certain once I saw this very specific interaction. And this, by the way, is one of AJ's most classic moments across these two trials. He just plays this so beautifully. And I think part of why is because Alan Jackson is a military guy and he uses that. So Brian Higgins throws out a military time reference and Alan jumps on it and uses it against him. And it's absolutely brilliant. It's just a beautiful exchange between the two of them. But it is exactly what initially told me that there's no question Brian Higgins is involved in this. There's just no question.
You stayed less than an hour, right?
That's correct.
So I'm assuming it didn't dump 3 feet in an hour, correct?
I think we can both agree that it's not it wouldn't have been 3 feet now.
Right. So it would have been a light dusting of snow.
More snow than there was there.
How far would you say it was from the edge of the driveway over to your Jeep?
From where the back of my Jeep was parked?
Correct.
Maybe a foot or two, or it could have been even with the edge of the driveway.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's probably a bad question on my part. When you left the house, as you started to walk down the driveway toward your Jeep, how long of a walk is that? Across the yard to down the driveway to get to your Jeep?
Short.
30 feet?
Maybe.
Okay. During the course of you walking out the door, heading to your Jeep, you didn't see anything out of the ordinary in the yard, correct?
No.
You certainly didn't see a body in the yard.
Of course not.
Now, you get in your car, and it's facing directly toward the flagpole, correct?
It's facing directly up the street. The flagpole would be off to the 1 o'clock.
Right. So just a few degrees off to the right, the flagpole is, correct?
It's off to the right.
Just a few degrees.
I don't know how many degrees, but it's off to the right.
Well, you just said 1 o'clock. You're a former military guy, right?
I am.
Okay. 1 o'clock means 1 o'clock on a watch. 12 o'clock is due north, or right in front of you. 1 o'clock is just a few degrees to the right, correct? That's what you meant.
At the 1 o'clock, yes.
Okay. So you didn't see a body when you got in your Jeep?
No, I did not.
Then you turned the engine on, correct?
And the wipers, yes.
And the lights?
Yes.
And the lights lit up everything in front of you, correct?
Yes.
You still didn't see a body, did you?
No, I did not.
Sitting in the driver's seat, you put the car in gear and you begin to roll forward, right?
Yes.
But there was a plow on the ground that scraped for a foot, right?
Yes.
So you picked it back up,
Yes.
looked out the windshield to make sure the plow was situated, and continued to roll forward, correct?
I knew it was up when I continued to drive.
And as you continue to drive, you're looking ahead of you and probably to your left to make sure that there's no oncoming cars, right?
Well, I knew there was no oncoming cars. I was just driving forward.
Right. So your focus is directly in front of you.
On the road, yes.
And everything in your peripheral vision is right in front of you as well, correct?
Yes.
Nothing obstructing your view.
I mean, other than snow on the car.
Nothing obstructing your view outside toward the lawn. Wasn't another car parked there.
No, I didn't. There was no vehicles in front of me, no.
It was the roadway was relatively empty.
There was no cars.
And you didn't see a body then either, did you?
I did not.
And as you drive past that flagpole with everything lit up and everything in your peripheral vision, you still didn't see a body on that lawn, did you?
I did not.
You're a former firefighter, is that right?
Yes.
Did that put you in a position of being a first responder?
Yes.
And you're currently a law enforcement officer?
Yes.
That puts you in the position of being a first responder, correct?
I'm also a tactical medic, yes.
Which means that you have training to be an observer. You're a trained observer, more than the average person, correct?
Yes.
You look for things out of the ordinary. You look for things that don't belong. As an investigator, former firefighter, first responder, correct?
Yes.
And you did not see a 217-pound man bleeding out on the side of the road, in the lawn, or in the yard, just to your right by that flagpole, correct?
If I did,
I didn't ask
would
you
have
if
done
you
something
did.
to help him.
I asked you if you saw one.
No, I did not.
And that's because there was no body there, correct?
I didn't see anything.
Because if there was a body there, you certainly would have seen that.
Objection.
So that's the interaction that Not Now says, yeah, to me it's corny that they would have a fight over Karen. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And that is exactly why I have really taken issue with the way that people are suggesting things would have went down, because to me that's just doesn't make sense. That's exactly why I'm like, wait a minute, why was he gonna go beat him up? And like, what good was that gonna do, right? So maybe that wasn't the intent. Maybe the intent was to confront him in a different way or about something else. And the only reason, for me, it's like, if Karen likes him and he believes that, if he believes that Karen is still showing him signs that she likes him, then there might be a reason to go after John. Because at that point, like, maybe I asked John, like, what is the deal with you? Are you guys still together? And maybe immediately, John gets defensive and experiences that in a threatening way, and that starts a fight, because it would have only taken one sentence, right? One sentence. What's going on? What's up with you and Karen? You know, that's like, there's a way, I think there's a way that Brian Higgins drunk could have asked this question without necessarily making it sound, I don't know. I think there's a way he could have asked it, which would have made John immediately defensive. And that's all it took. Now, I see somebody else in the chat mentioning that Brian Albert was probably involved. And I want to say, absolutely. He absolutely was involved. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. He was definitely involved. And to your point, and again, I want to make this very, very clear. You know, Brian Albert is the quintessential holdover of the Boston police culture of the 90s. Like, that is the culture of the Boston Police Department that Brian Albert was born into. When he entered into the Boston PD, it was coming off of like the 80s and 90s, where they were just riddled with scandal, the overtime stuff, the culture of that police department is like Brian Albert is like the quintessential version of it. He embodies it in every way, right? There's just no doubt that he was aggressive. There's no doubt that he would have, if he saw a chance to be in a fight with another cop, he took it, especially when they were drinking. And Chloe was involved, guys. There's no doubt. Chloe was involved. And as you guys all know, Massachusetts, from what I understand, is a state where if an owner is aggressive with a person, the owner is held as responsible. That's my understanding of the state of Massachusetts. So if that's true, even if he did not lay a hand on John, he's still culpable. And that's all it had to take, right? It was just the two of them. Because remember, John dies from a fall backwards. So it wasn't a punch that, it wasn't, he didn't get beat to death. It's a better way to say it. It might have been a punch, the force from a punch that sent him backwards, but he hit his head on something, and it was the force in combination with whatever he landed on that ultimately, ended his life almost immediately. And look, I think I heard somebody else say this, 9 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10, this ends in a stupid fight where everybody's embarrassed the next morning and shakes hands and goes on with their lives. On this night, these are big men and they were drinking too much and somebody died. So people always say this, that maybe, I see people suggesting that maybe Chloe jumped on him and he fell backwards. The only problem with that, and Karen does mention this in the Mango interview, John had bruises on the backs of his hands. He doesn't have bruises anywhere else, but he has them on the backs of his hands. And if you look at where they are, people have suggested that they were from the IV. The problem with that, though, is that by the time those IVs made it into John's hands, he would have not had blood flow for a long time. And my understanding of bruising is there needs to be blood to create bruises. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not a medical doctor, so that may not be true. But that's my understanding, which, and in combination with the fact that I've had plenty of IVs and, they don't create welts on the back of your hand, on both hands. One is much worse than the other, but there's bruising on both. It's those bruises on John's hands that really make it impossible not to believe that there was some type of fight. That in combination with where exactly the forensic neurologist, the big blows were to the back of the head, but there was some bruising on the temple, and he's got cuts to the eye. And remember the glass in his nose. Maybe he's hit with a glass, right? Maybe he's punched with a glass. It's all it would have had to have taken, like one right, one left, and this is game over. So I think there was a fight. There was some, I don't want to even say fight. That's probably the wrong word. I think there were some punches exchanged, right? Like some blows exchanged. And it must have very quickly just ended badly. And I agree with you, Not Now 773. It's always been hard for me to think, like, what are we, 9 and we're going to fight over the girl? It seems so stupid and unlikely. That's why I am trying to always come back to, like, what would possess Brian Higgins to decide this was a good idea? Like, this is not somebody who wanted to hang out with John. He didn't even want to go to John's house. The only reason why he went to the Patriots game was because Karen kept bugging him to go, right? Like, now all of a sudden you want to know if John is coming over to the house and you can't wait to see John. And the whole thing is like, he's threatening him. It just doesn't make sense. So, this is something that it bothers me. Obviously I like to know things. If I can't figure it out, I go nuts. So at Chat Signal, since 499 says, is it surprising anyone would punch Officer John O'Keefe, knowing Karen was likely coming in right behind him? It's a good question. Is it likely So the way that I visualize this happening, after all of the ways that I've configured this in my mind, and I'm not saying this is the right way, I'm just saying this is the way I visualize it now after all of this time. John is walking up the driveway towards the side door, like the breezeway. Straight ahead is the family room door, and on that right side is the garage door. Brian Higgins is parked, his Jeep is parked not in the first lane, not in the second lane, but in the third lane. Because if you look at the driveway, they actually have there's 3 rows where you can park your car. And actually, it's Matt McCabe that explains that to us in great detail, telling us that there's room to park on the right side. There's 2 lanes. There's the front garage, and the right garage, but then there's spot on the other side. I think the Jeep is parked on the front on the other side. So it's basically parallel with the back gate to the backyard where Chloe is. I think Higgins is in his Jeep running, waiting for John to get there outside. And when John walks up that driveway, Higgins yells out to him. He says, "John, over here." And that's where it looks from Karen's view. She's looking at him. She thinks that John goes up into the house. But at that moment, she looks away. John turns and goes over by the Jeep. Nobody sees him because the Jeep is, off to the right. And it's kind of tucked away a little bit. And that's where the two of them have some kind of conversation. That's where a fight happens. That's where he hits his head. And Chloe would be on the other side of that gate at that time and with Brian Albert, right? Because the first thing that Brian Albert does when they get home is take the dog out and lets the dog into the backyard. And we know that that dog has gotten out of the backyard before she can jump the fence. Nicole Albert tells us that. So maybe Chloe hears these 2 guys having a fight, jumps the fence. And that's it, right? Rest is history. Maybe Brian Albert is there, maybe he's not. But that is how I visualize the sequence of events at this point. And again, I don't know if that's what happened. That's just how I visualize it at this point. Twigs the Gemini. Holy crap, sends $100. Wow, thank you, Twigs. The kids were liabilities, absolutely. And the less people for the police to know about cause problems. The ridiculousness of the kids trying to testify is the example of why they didn't want them involved. That's a good point. Some of them knew some information but couldn't keep their story together. Absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, this is the thing that's bothered me about this case always. And it makes me think that somebody gave Brian Albert the assurances that they were never going to be charged, that the court was going to be doing everything in its power to support them, that the judge was in their pocket. Because how is it that these people do not even take the time to sit down and align their stories? Like, how is it that Nicole doesn't sit down with Jen and Colin and Allie and Brian Jr.? How do they not all sit in one room and say, this is what we're going to say? Nobody's leaving this room until everybody says the same thing the same way. And what that means is there's not one person, watching Dad in the family room, looking at pictures of Dad as a Marine when he's a kid. And then somebody else has, Dad and Nicole looking at pictures of the son in the Marines. And then all Jen can remember is the words son and the Marines. Like, you know what I mean? How did these people not take this so much more seriously than they did? And if they did take it seriously, and Tristan Morris, Tristan Morris is what you get. Tristan Morris, for a guy who knows nothing and who has nothing to do with anything, is there anyone who you've ever seen evidenced more consciousness of guilt in your entire life? Tristan Baars, it's like the craziest. I never forget the first time I saw that. I could not. I just died. I was shocked. Like, this is nuts. This is nuts. This kid is so nervous. He won't even say that he was at the waterfall that night. Like, he can't even admit that. He's like, I don't know. I don't know times. I don't know times. And it gets so bad and so egregious that eventually it's like, Yannetti's like, I mean, this is what I mean when people talk about like the lying is so extreme. It's so off the charts. And you would think that if you're going to lie and you're going to have your kids and their spouses and partners, if everyone's going to lie, don't we take this more seriously than they are? And if they're not, then why not? And that's when I start getting more conspiracy minded. Like, somebody must have told, like, the DA most definitely must have been in their pocket, in their mind, for them to think that this was just acceptable. Like, don't worry about it. Judge is gonna, keep it from blowing up anyway. That's so crazy. It drives me nuts. This is when I get upset. When I get upset because of the lying. That, it freaks me out. At Denise Carter, I can't see for some reason. I've got Brian Higgins in the way. Sends 10 pounds, sends a super sticker. Thank you so much, Denise. Denise is like one of my favorite names. I don't know if you guys knew that, but let me see here. Let me just see if this other part, no, because it's not. I thought maybe there's a clip in a different video that I'm going to be putting out soon. The clip of Brian Higgins saying that he did not feel ignored. And to me, as I said before, it's important. Yeah, I see some people asking about, can we, some of us have wanted to try to get into the house to do like a luminol test. Listen, if I lived in that house, I would absolutely be like spraying the whole house. Right? Why not? At least I'll know, even if it's not legitimate in a court of law, at least I'll know. This is the problem with this case, you guys. Nobody is investigating it. Nobody's investigating it. So who's going to come in and do that? You can't call the Massachusetts State Police in, can't call the Boston Police in. You're not going to call the Canton Police in. Who's investigating what really happened? Because according to them, according to all of those agencies, Karen Read is the Karen Read's the murderer. Karen Read's the murderer. And yet, when you just play that part out, forget about all the lying, forget about the McAlberts, just try to put Karen Read as the person responsible with her car for killing John. And it can't happen. There's no possible way that John O'Keefe's body is where we see it. There's no way that Karen's car makes, does that to John and not leave any bruises on the body. It's not, knocks him out of his shoe. I mean, it's not possible. That's the problem. The problem is that it's not possible. And, this is where I think, the DA handled this all wrong. Like, the district attorney, at least if you were going to bring this case, like, you'd think they would have done it in a much more intelligent way. They just screwed up in every way that you could. And they were better off, apparently, with going with Lally than they were with Hank, because Hank was a defense attorney and then it wound up operating like a defense attorney, forgot that he had to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt. Instead, wound up just trying to tell us, well, but it's possible that John could have been hit with a car. That was his whole thing. Well, it's possible, right? He could have been clipped. Not if you can't prove that he was clipped. No, because that's not your job. Your job isn't to say it's possible. Your job is to say that it happened beyond a reasonable doubt. Yes, as far as the DNA in this case goes, I see some people talking about DNA. As far as the DNA in this case goes, again, you just didn't have people interested in finding out what happened, right? And if And truly, like, so then the question is, all right, let's say this happens outside. Well, then where does he go? Because at some point, then they've got to bring him inside. And we know there's vomit. We know there's blood. That is always going to be a problem here. I mean, there's not enough blood. There's not enough vomit, honestly, at the scene for that to be where this, whatever happened. And if we were talking about real cops and real investigators, they would have seen that right away and wanted to go in the house to find out what really happened. It would have been the very first thing that these cops realized, and immediately would have said, this isn't our crime scene, folks. It's just so maddening. It's so upsetting. G Brown 7099 sends $10, says they were to show up together. JM kept watch to separate Karen from John, while Higgins was to out Karen to John somewhere else in the house. Right. So that's interesting. In other words, more people had to know about it because the goal was to separate them. That's why Jen was trying to take Karen away from John. The only reason why I struggle with this, because I have, believe me, I've been down this road and tried to make this work too for a long time. The only problem is when you watch that waterfall video, and by the way, I encourage everybody to do this because it did start to shift my thinking. And it was Vince, it was Loophole Lawyer, that made me do it, because he was like, we gotta find the moment that shifts in Brian Higgins' head. So I just started watching it much more closely, moment by moment. And again, there currently is no video where every single moment we can just watch all the way through. So that would be really helpful. It makes it a little bit more difficult to do. But the reason why this is tough for me is because Jen is with Karen so much, and she's so happy. Like, she's so excited to see Karen. Like, you really get the sense that Jen loved Karen. Not like deep love, but like bar friend love, right? Like, yay, my bar friend Karen is here. Like, you really get this overwhelming sense that she likes her. And you don't see Jen like co-opting the way we would expect, the way I'm sure she was doing after this night, to try to like sneak around to get Karen, away from him. So you might be right. I just don't see it in the interplay. Up until the part where at the very end, Jen says, Karen, why don't you come with me? Because the guys are taking longer. So it may have been deliberate. I certainly could have been. I just don't see the evidence of it during the waterfall video. The other thing that Jen says, and I put it in my open because I think it's so important. She makes that really important point. It's so easy to miss during the second trial, where she says, whatever happened inside was completely separate and apart from whatever happened outside. Man, when she said that, I was like, that is a true statement. What she's just told you is important and is true. Right? So it's very possible, because I've tried to manufacture this every way possible. Does Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel, do they know about what happens to John? And the answer, I don't think they do. Not in real time. They may suspect after the fact, but I just don't think that they were aware of what was going on that night. And the other thing that makes it hard for me to believe that they knew that it was happening that night is that her Apple Health data doesn't have her moving around at the times that you would expect her to have been if John walks into the house at the time that he would have been walking in, at whatever, it's like 12:25 and 20 seconds or something. I have to see the times exactly, but her Apple Health data just doesn't align with when John is walking into the house. And you would think, based on her reaction to them when they walked into the bar, that she'd be ecstatic to see them if John shows up at the house. So, let me read the rest of these here. Gina Parrish, 4096, sends $5, says, I have always wondered what John was working on at work and if it had anything to do with the selling of drugs in Canton. Yeah, people bring this up a lot. Actually, I have somewhere, I should pull it out. It's been a while. I have somewhere, somebody sent me an extensive police reports, just a whole file worth of stuff into these cases that both John had awareness of and Brian Albert. And I wouldn't be shocked if two things were true at the same time. If John had awareness and Brian was into something shady, something along those lines. But I just don't think that if there was any intent to hurt John, that it would have gone down like this. So to me, even if it were true that there was bad blood or some reason to want to hurt John, I don't think it would have happened on this night the way that it went down. It was just so haphazard, so fly by the seat of my pants. Like, Brian Albert doesn't want his children around when there's a murdered police officer, for any reason ever. This was just so messy and stupid. To me, it's just, there's no world where like experienced police officers deliberately try to kill someone in this form or fashion. This was just a disaster. And it's ruined their lives. I mean, will someday they all just get over it? Okay, maybe. I mean, assuming they never go to jail, but to Chris Albert's point, Colin's a baby, he's a child. He's got his whole life ahead of him. This is not a way to start things off. This is a horror show for these people. A horror show. And that's why it's like, okay, yeah, you're not in prison, but man, wow, this cannot be easy. Living in this family, what are they going to do? They're just going to You're never going to leave home. You're going to stay at your parents' house for the next decade. Something bad is going to happen, right? Because you can't live with this way. You can't live with this kind of heavy burden, this just egregious lying and guilt. And, this was a horrible, this is a nightmare. It's a nightmare nobody wants. Studio 102 sends $10, says, interesting to me that Karen said she'd be the one to message Higgins on behalf of herself and John. That would make Higgins' "you coming here" text being sent specifically to John feel more pointed to me. One of the reasons that I wonder if Karen never saw Higgins as a suspect is because it's like an inadvertent way to blame herself, right? It's like, because the text messages may have been a catalyst to a fight that eventually results in John's life being lost, the last door in my mind that I want to go down as I'm thinking about all the things that could have happened to John is the one that has me directly involved or indirectly directly involved in what happened to him. And so for me, because that's a really big point of contention, right? There's no doubt that Brian Higgins is the person that actually has a means and a motive. Colin Albert may have had shit with John over the law and stuff, but that's not really, that's means. Is that like a real motive for murder or like assault? Maybe if Colin's just a drunk idiot, I mean, maybe. It's not a great one though. But what, I forget what the cop saying is, but it's like there's like 3 classic motives, right? And like it's like sex, money, and I forget what the other one is, but this is like one of the 3 most classic motives is like, yeah, this guy's messing with his girl behind his back. Or, some version of that, right? So there's no doubt that the Brian Higgins stuff is the motive. I mean, it's like the most obvious motive, even though it seems so childish, right? And that's the other thing. Like, I'm sure if I'm Karen Reed, it's very easy for me to go, oh, come on, in a big timeline, these stupid text messages for 2 weeks are like nothing. They're silly. They mean nothing. But if you zoom all the way in and you look at the waterfall, you look at all the dynamics, you think about what was really going on, you think about the fact that this is Brian Higgins. He's like kind of, you know, a rage. He rages out pretty easily. He's very emotional. I don't know how many times this guy like cries more on the stand in 2 days than any other witness that we've seen. The whole time he's tearing up. So he's very emotional. He's aggressive. We've all heard stories about him on the job. We hear stories about him getting angry at Michael Proctor for leaving a message at the front of the Canton Police Department for him that he didn't like. Like, he's an emotional guy. He's obviously not the most mature person, certainly not under the influence of alcohol. We know Brian Albert has a history of beating up cops, particularly when he's drinking. You know, so it's like you start adding in those layers of detail. Then you see Karen kind of putting herself right in front of him. You see them doing the peacocking. Yeah. I don't know that, like, I know that Microdots in their video, you know, talk about the display of aggression. There's no way to dispute it. I mean, if you put a bunch of male monkeys, you know, in a lab or in their natural environment and you watch them, they're going to do it. They are eventually going to fight each other for the girl. There's no doubt. Not only for the girl, but for the top of the social ladder. That's what they do. It's going to happen. So on one hand, yeah, that is what he's doing. But she's doing a version of it too, by being gregarious, by putting herself right next to him, by talking over him to speak to Brian Albert. I mean, you know, and Brian Albert, he's got balls, right? He tells us, oh, I didn't speak to Karen at all that night. Well, we actually see him on the waterfall video directly engaging with her. So he's, you know, it's, again, it's just gaslighting and more nonsense. So I don't know. And I've said it before. I will say it again, and I'm saying it now. To me, there's one text message that is the single most important text message of all of the text messages between Karen and between Brian Higgins. And it's the one that happens at 11 something a.m. on January 29th. That Twiggs already mentioned, and that is the John died text. And what's equally important is what doesn't happen after that, right? After all of their interactions, Brian Higgins has always maintained that he likes Karen, that he's interested in her, leaving the door open, always, the entire time. And he doesn't even respond with a, I'm sorry, Karen, it's terrible, you know, nothing. He doesn't respond at all. To me, those two text messages are these, well, the text message and then the lack of a text message on the other side speak volumes about what has gone on here. I mean, they're just so, they cannot be overstated in terms of how important they are. Absolutely critical, right? And I know what people are going to say. They'll say, oh, well, Higgins, you know, he thought Karen was a murderer by then. No. 11:40 that day, you do not have enough evidence to say that Karen Reed is the person who murdered John. And even if she had, and he believed that, it would have been an accident, and he knows it. So that is not a reason to punish her, right? The only reason that you punish her or you don't respond is because of guilt, right? It's a consciousness of guilt thing. If you're Brian Higgins, it's just, this is the same guy who sent the well text with 3 question marks, not even 12 hours earlier. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable story. It really is. Go fake yourself, Megan sends $10. Said Higgy and Brian Albert took Chloe to the garage and saw them arrive. Higgy and Brian Albert took Chloe. Higgy called John like at the bar. He thought he knew about the kiss, especially after the bar. John asked, is it okay if Karen comes in? Let me see it again. Okay. Higgy and Brian Albert took Chloe to the garage and saw them arrive. Higgy called John like at the bar, right? Okay. He thought he knew about the kiss. John asks, oh, okay. So you're sort of going with what my sister's theory was, that Brian responds or sees them kind of lovey-dovey, and he assumes that John is like throwing it in his face that Karen is his. I think that's what you're saying. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Again, certainly possible. They were together. I mean, the truth is that is it possible that John could have walked through the family room? Possible. Also, remember, there is a back door. There's a sliding door that goes to the backyard through the family room. Nobody ever talks about that. I didn't even realize that until somewhat recently. I mean, it's also possible that John could have walked into the house and gone straight into the backyard through the family room. I don't think so, but it's not impossible, right? And then he would have been outside where Chloe lives, in Chloe's backyard, literally, right? I just don't think that's what happened, but I don't know why I don't think that. It's hard for me to say why I think, it's after being on this case for so long, it's like, I don't even know why I think what I think some of the time. It's just like, it's just years of being on it. Envisage Amy sends $4.99, says, if you could look closely at Brian Higgins' face right before this pause, Iowans so appreciate it. He gets a flash of, I know. Oh, I know. And I will tell you, I thought there's a moment that gets cut out. So I actually, right at the end here, I'll show it to you here. So I think I can pull it up real quick right here. Yeah, there it is. So right at the end, he kind of he's so overwhelmed with emotion. And then he gets this he has to pull it all together. And he gets this really angry face on. But the actual recording, so whoever did the filming of this originally, they cut something out. And so we don't actually see it in real time. And I tried to go back to other outlets because I always use the Trial Channel, of course. Trial Channel, big shout out to the Trial Channel. They're the best ever. Absolutely amazing. But sometimes, as we know, the Trial Channel cuts out the in-between stuff. So I thought maybe that's what this was. And I went back to try to find it somewhere else. I couldn't. Any other place that I went to look for the Brian Higgins testimony, it also cuts out. So I don't know why that happened here, but whatever happened, it happened. The cameraman is the person doing the cutting. So you don't actually get to see the full expression change sequence in real time. It just got cut out somehow. But yeah. Oh, if you watch this on slow-mo, and I have done it, so I've done it before. You watch this whole series, it's intense. I mean, he goes through a full range of emotions. And you also have to remember, he's a big military guy, and that's part of what this is about, right? Alan Jackson has him connecting to that integrity, the pride being he was the lieutenant for the fire department. He's a long line of firemen. His dad, his grandfather was a firefighter. It was a big deal for him to take the job with the ATF because he had to walk away from this is a whole thing for this guy. It's a big deal for Mr. Higgins. And obviously, he feels terrible about it. I mean, clearly he's not happy about what happened. That doesn't change the culpability, but he's clearly feels remorse. GenFab 90, 120, 2 months. Wow, 2 months. Sergio's video, 5 of Higgins' testimony. He suspects Hagen had an affair with a married woman and was rejected. You're saying like in the past that Higgins has that Sergio's video 5 of Higgins' testimony. He suspects Higgins had an affair. Are you talking about because he was in a relationship? No, you're not talking about that. I don't remember hearing that. I'll have to check that out. I will definitely check that out. Thank you for that. I'm super curious. And welcome for 2 months. How exciting. Okay, so let's see. Sergio's video 5 suspects Jen, sends $49.99. Oh, right. Thank you for clarifying. Of course. Yes. Okay. So he suspects that Higgins had a prior relationship with one of the people who were at the Patriots party the night Karen and Higgins kissed. Right. He was the other man. That's right. You are absolutely right. And it's actually, oh my God, it's one of the people. I think I can't remember the details, but it's somebody that I think him and Karen reference early on in their text exchange also, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if it's the husband or the wife, but you're right. He absolutely does. I'll have to go back and listen to that again. It's been a while since I've listened to Sergio's breakdown of the Higgins testimony. And I know we had Veriscope do one recently, and that one was really good too. They're very, very different. It's kind of funny, right? When you can have these two pros at statement analysis and just also have their testimony certainly be their analysis be complementary, but also very different. Like they focus on different things, and both really interesting and helpful. To me, when you have all of these professionals with all their different backgrounds and everybody's looking at it and everybody's seeing something that's similar, right? It's all complementary. It's like, it just gets harder and harder to see it any other way. It's like, what else could possibly account for all of the absolute minimizing, denying, Brian Higgins, the entire time, wants no commitment to anything he says. He reduces commitment to every word that comes out of I believe, or that could have been, or that would have been, or I would have done that. It's like, do you not? Can you even speak a sentence that isn't deceptive? It's insane. These people are insane. Thanks so much, Jen. It's the insanity of it all. The insanity of it all. All right, you guys. It is late and my head is popping off. And you're absolutely right, Twigs. You are so right. I owe you a huge chat. I would love to chat. I know we have to do it. As you know, I am back in school now, and I have my big comps exam coming up. But it's going to be over and done with quick. So I'm going to get in, do all the crazy cram studying for my comps exam. It's like the big final test that you have to take when you're a doctoral student in psychology. And then, the only thing after that is dissertation. So, and I'm still not, you guys are going to laugh. I deferred just so I'll give you the update on the dissertation. I had to kick the can down the road a little farther because I just knew I wasn't ready. I'm not ready. I do not have my heart around a topic that I feel strong about yet. I could pull one together, and I had, but I just don't care enough to put that much time and effort into it yet. So I deferred a little bit, but we'll get there. I promise we'll get there. All right, you guys. You are awesome. I thank you all. I love you guys. You're amazing. You truly are an incredible chat. And I cannot thank you enough for being a part of this channel, this show, this chat tonight. And hopefully we will get to do it again soon. You guys are the best. Denise, you're the best moderator the world has ever known. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything. And there's so much, you guys. There's so much content. I cannot tell you. I am so overwhelmed. There's so much for me to do. Every 5 seconds, I'm like, oh my God, I want to do that. I got to do that. I want to do that. So, lots to come. Lots to come. Good Good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your, what is it? Well, I guess it's Thursday morning, right? Thursday morning now. So enjoy the rest of your night into your early morning, and I will see everybody next week. Goodbye. Goodbye, you guys. Goodbye.
It is the defense counselor's duty to protect the rights of the individual, as it is the prosecution's duty to uphold and defend the laws of the state. Justice for all. Only we have a problem here.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.